Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week of AWOL online. Altered Weekly Online League Play. Season 3, Monday Weekly number 4. I am, in fact, Blue, joined with probably the best or the highest tier Chimera within the Altered Space, Crowbar. You can ignore Finn's face, it's mostly for Crowbar. Um, I will be commentating over some amazing altered gameplay, whereas we probably won't hear that much from Crowbar during the time. But if you are interested to what Crowbar sounds like, just stick around the entire stream and you'll probably hear them speak at some point. So don't miss it. You'll want to stick around for that. Past that, we should have a pretty good event. Sold out quite early as far as 128 of 128 players, just a few minutes off the start. We have some of the usual customers, but we do also have our first World Championship qualifier winner in Altered Aces Popeye signed up. Be interested if they are still around for this event in order to check it out, see how they can follow up with a Netherlands victory to a what everyone is actually here for the best victory of all in AWOL, right? So we'll see how that balances out and see if they can take on 2 wins in a row here this not this week, I guess. I mean, it is technically this week. The event was Saturday, Sunday, but, I guess it was Saturday, not Sunday. Either way, 2 days, 3 days off. We'll, see how they can do. We also have quite a few other people involved with this tournament to take a look at. We had the runner-up in that same World Championship qualifier event, Clay Deuce. Clay is known for some amazing Sigismar gameplay as well as Popeye does. And, yeah, a few other players involved here. We have some more Altered Aces players, quite a few other teams, including Hat Easy Lopez, who is coming off a victory from the Exalts Celebration Tournament recently, taking first place there. A lot of EU folks to take a look at, and then we also have North American, or at least West Coast's darling within the Americas and all of the marbles in this event. Excited to see what they could be playing as well. Then past that, just a lot of the usual regulars, and I'm excited to see what we got going here. Been a while since I've done some commentary, so glad to be back here with everyone that has decided to join, and excited to see some altered gameplay of the full event here of 128 out of 128 for this AWOL Season 3 Monday Weekly number 4. We are less than a minute away, in fact, just quite a few seconds away here from the start of the event. And then as soon as we get the pairings going, we will jump right into it. And like I mentioned, be sure to stick around to hear Crowbar speak at some point. I can't tell you when that's going to be, but you have to stay around the entire stream to take a look at it. And we have reached the time for the start. So we will do a quick refresh to see what pairings we have going on here. Just giving it a minute. Little bit of time here. Once again, want to thank everyone that has joined me here in the stream to watch some AWOL, some altered gameplay. I don't think I've actually casted any of this new set from Whispers from the Maze other than the demo deck event. So this should be fun. Taking a look at all these decks that players have been going at it with. I've only been seeing it on stream lately. Taking a little bit time here. As we mentioned, this is a full event. Sometimes EJ needs a little bit extra time to get the pairings going, and we do have the pairings already here. And let's take a look to see what we have available to us. The question is, do we want to take a look at some other folks? I kind of want to see if we can go in right away with the champion of the World Championship qualifier, the first one, see if I can find Popeye here somewhere and just jump in, watch a little bit of Sigismar gameplay and seeing who that they're playing up against. just so that we can see what that deck list is like that won the entire event. We're having a little bit of loading issues here, but we'll get to it here shortly. They're all the way down here on table 62, and the game is starting, so we should be able to jump right into the action. We can indeed, so we'll switch on over here and take a look at this game here versus DSL Deso. And they're both deciding on some mana here currently, so we'll see what that is between the 2 of them, and it looks like we will have an Ortis matchup here of Sigismar versus Golring. Yeah, we gotta love Crowbar. It's honestly probably my favorite co-caster, no offense to all the other stream team, but, whew, it's hard to beat. We're taking a look at it, but, yeah, haven't gotten actually to play on BJ a whole lot lately, just been doing a lot of my locals, so I've been enjoying the new setup here that they do for every new set as far as Whispers from the Maze. I'll be excited in particular here to see what, Disso can come up with on the goal ring, especially against the first World Championship qualifier. And we're going to start off strong, though, with that good old fashioned Ortis Trooper for Popeye. But I don't imagine Deso is upset with being able to play a Conjuring Seal right away either. You're going to get 2 0'd, but sets up some good cards like field reinforcements from being behind here on both expeditions or something else. Not sure what the traditional meta is here with the gold ring players, especially with the Whispers from the Maze cards coming in. I do know that we did get to see some of them. Some folks play it at the qualifier, I believe. Don't believe we got anyone topping with it. I think the biggest, I guess, upset that we saw as far as a hero getting into the top cut with in that qualifier was a Trace, I believe. So take a look at that later. But for now, we will see the good old fashioned card here from the new set, the Mescatet in the rare version. Gotta love the gold chip. So that'll be a big benefit here for the gold ring as long as they can keep up with the Sigismar. I feel like this is probably the ideal setup. You get a lot of card draw up the start with the Conjuring Seal, and then you throw out a Mescatet. Obviously, they're may even get 2-0'd here again, and it looks like they will indeed with a Sandman following the Ordish Trooper. So, a lot of ground here for the goal ring to make up. This is the plight of the goal ring players in general. Even when you hit that 8 mana turn, it makes it still difficult to come back and win. We'll see what they can do with the nice setup of the Mescatet and having a lot of card draw and kinda take things from there. We do have the Mescatet effect coming into effect on noon. Yeah, it's, I feel like it's one of those things that, as far as the trace is concerned, that, there's definitely a lot of new cards that make it do well. I guess just coming off fresh from the meta, this should be interesting to see how many new heroes that weren't as popular can come in for these world qualifiers. Obviously, we still got to see a lot of Sigismars and Aphonises, so we'll see how that works out. We do have a day there where the Sigismar just opts to save some resources, knowing that the gold ring can't advance and already took out one of the Mescatets, and we see a second one come up that just opting for the resources that they have in hand and not in too much of a rush here with that huge lead on the tumult. So we'll see if they're able to use that little skip turn a bit to try to get another advance to set things up. PGA qualifier dates are announced. Check Altered. Ooh, we'll have to check that out here shortly. Gift of Self, though, does come out here for the Sigismar player. Probably one of the cards that I am the most excited to see come back from Beyond the Gates for the Sigismar players to get some more draw without the Baba Yaga in play for them. It's a definitely a rare that I tried to include early on when we had the initial set come out, but it just didn't feel right with all the other rares available. So, excited to see that make a reappearance here for the Ortis hero. As we see the good old fashioned attorneys pop out for both players, we do have Golrang just kind of piling on the stats here a little bit, preventing the advance. But Sigismar player and Popeye is going to take advantage of that and get a double draw here with two attorneys on the hero expedition, as well as a draw for the Golrang player. So now it just seems to be a battle of resources, and the question will be that with the advance, or at least the advancement on the tumult thus far for Popeye on the Sigismar, will it be enough once that 8 mana turn comes around for the goal ring to just knock the win out here before goal ring can get too much online? But a lot of resources for both players, so it could go either way. Goal ring in itself probably not too excited to be this far down, but I'm sure they are prepared for it. So, a lot of recruits on the board here for both players. We're going to go ahead and see a Jack Frost pop up here. Doesn't want to see that attorney come out again for the gold ring player. Plenty of gold rings available for the Sigismar player, as we see another newer card here from Whispers from the Maze and Conscription, putting out some more Ortis recruits that are going to be boosted up by that hero ability. And we will see the attorney come out as well. And then, you know what? We already have one ship on the board. Let's go ahead and bring out a carrier. 3 cost this time around. Only going to put out one recruit, but it is guaranteed every single time at noon. Good old fashioned carrier from Beyond the Gates. Been a while since we've seen these be in play. I'd be curious to take a look at this Gold Rings deck list to see how many of these permanents they're stacking up. It looks like they're using the full Mescatet setup, and I assume carriers as well. And it looks like the Seismar will once again use this to their advantage in getting some more card draw. We will be coming on the 8 mana turn, so I don't know if they can play it passive like they've been doing these past few days after getting the two O's. They're gonna have to start getting some advancements here shortly. Otherwise, they're gonna start falling behind to the realistically army that the Gold Ring is putting out with all these Ortis recruits. It is in fact the Popeye, Gus. It's crazy, right? This is the only person that is allowed at the World Championship at the moment, at least till next weekend. Maybe past that, we'll have someone else, unless Popeye goes and decides to win that one too. I don't really know the tiebreaker rules for that if they just use the second place. I didn't pay attention to that. I imagine they just won't give Popeye both qualifiers. Kind of ruin the point. But yep. We'll go into the infamous 8 mana turn here for the gold ring player. Honestly, a good just chance overall to stop the bleeding after giving up two O's at the first 2 days, and just keep Sigismar where they are at in order to make it to the 8 mana turn. And now we will see if they are able to get some advancements of their own, or if all the resources that the Sigismar has built up playing a little bit passively is going to be a benefit to them in getting just 3 more advances to win the game. We will see the good old fashioned Jack Frost come out here. It's been interesting to see the Sigismar players play around with their rare slots a little bit after we saw the Baba Yagas go away and the changes coming to the Grand Endeavor. We have still seen some Grand Endeavors come into play for deck lists. So it's been fun to see people keep that and try to see what they can do. Still a great permanent, if you don't mind me saying. But we do see a unique Ozma come on the board here. When I leave the expedition zone, if you have less than 8 mana orbs, draw a card. And when another non token character joins your expedition, up to one target character gains fleeting. So, fun little card there as well. It doesn't look like we'll get one effect, but we can give some cards some fleeting. And we do see an Abby Sap Courier come out here, not in the scout, but it's going to go ahead and augment any number of target characters in play or in reserve, which is obviously really great with the automatic boosts that we see on the tokens. a fun little combo play that we get to see from the rare out of faction Whispers from the Maze card. Have not looked into the Gold Ring tech lately, but honestly, that seems like a pretty good setup, and all for 3 mana, and realistically, could only be for 2 mana if they decided to go with the Scout, but it looks like they may not have another card that they need to play. Maybe they just have a 1 cost that they wanna set up here. We'll have to see. We do see a 1 cost, another Whispers from the Maze card coming out here for the Sigmar player, which will allow a fleeting to be set up in the Ortis Crier on to the Ortis Overseer. Let's see if they have another card they want to play to give another character fleeting for the Gold Ring player. Definitely could hit that Abby if they so choose. Probably taking their time here to see if it would be worth it for them to do so, because they would be overloading their own reserve, and they are gonna go ahead and throw out the Monolith Legat, so that will essentially remove the entire reserve here for the Gold Ring, down to only 2 cards in hand, plus whatever they draw, and the permanents that they have set up. So a good play to eliminate resources here for the Gold Ring, even though the Gold Ring does get the 2-0 here. What will be a big factor is if the Gold Ring keeps on advancing, which they may not with the limited resources that they got put down to after all those fleeting and sabotage setups, is that the Mescatet will become a little less useful once they get ahead on a certain expedition or tied up or whatever you're going to do. Has to be behind. So we do have the unique Osmond that I mentioned before that now that we're past less than 8 mana or past 8 mana orbs or having more than 8 mana orbs, will not get the draw. But good for having that fleeting setup. Something that you don't really see that often within the Ortis uniques that I've seen a lot from. I feel like that's one that I have seen more often from, I guess, Lyra decks where there has something that gives fleeting to characters, but still a fun unique nonetheless. So we'll have to see how Popeye can take advantage of that. Don't believe that Ozma was. I'm not sure if that was in their deck list. I don't remember going over the unique specifically, but I don't know if that one specifically was in their deck list for the Dutch Championship. But still a fun card. A lot of good Ortis uniques out there. Not that anyone in the chat has to be told that, but we'll start with a play on that, and we will see a unique of their own coming out here from the Gold Ring. It is a Gibble with when another character joins your expedition, if you control one or more landmarks, draw a card, and from reserve, you may sacrifice a character. If you do, each character in target expedition gains 1 boost. So I actually really like these effects where when another character joins, you draw a card because this also applies to tokens as well. Um, Before we've seen it a lot on like Robin Hood uniques, but I can see how it could be super beneficial in a gold ring deck. So despite losing a lot of their resources, that unique will help them draw quite a bit here, and we'll have to see if they can get any more out of it with those draws that they have here and 2 mana left. They are currently ahead in both expeditions, but they are down in mana, and so we will see a slow play come out here from the Sigismar player, who's just going to start putting fleeting on all those characters that the Gold Ring is playing, and we'll be able to hit that cadets as well, I'd have to imagine, with the 4 mana left. But with all those characters that we see come out, we will see some drawing here coming from the gold ring. So, not ideal to lose everything that's going to reserve, but they now have 5 cards in hand, which has to feel a little bit better, despite being down 2 spots here on the Tumult. Definitely an interesting matchup here. I'm kinda glad I went to it just to check out Popeye and have them be the only world championship qualifier here at the moment, but, don't get to see a lot of Gold Ring play before, and now, maybe it'll be something a little bit more prevalent. But we do see one of those other removal cards come out here for the Sigismar in the license withdrawal, just straight up removes that Mescatet, which I'm not entirely sure why they. I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's a good card, especially if they were to get ahead here in the future, even though Mescatet would not have any, use at the current moment, but after giving up 2 2-Os, I'm sure the Sigmar just does not want to deal with it anymore and is fine with just dealing with the single Ortis recruit that's going to come out from the Ortis carrier, opposed to having to deal with a future setup from the Mescatet. So we do get some recruits coming out here, and we do see the gold ring go ahead and stack up on one side. And we'll see another unique come out here in the Katagaran Alchemists. Of from hand, if you control a token, up to two target characters each gain two boosts, and then also just draw a card from anywhere. Feel like we've seen a lot of these draw cards setups become a little bit more prevalent in Sigismar decks, especially with the Baba Yaga being removed, at least temporarily suspended. So a lot of uniques here with drawing abilities coming from these players makes sense. I feel like Sigismar excels in a lot of spots, and if you can have that card draw or just resources available to you, and it's through the forms of uniques, why not? But we will see that Trooper get removed with the use of the rare Ortis Spy, and then we will see another license withdrawal come out. Go ahead and take out that second permanent that the Gold Ring had been using to their advantage to get 2 2-Os. Good old fashioned mobile armory coming out here. I'm always partial to that card. We do see a Legat coming out here for the Sigismar as they are lower and lower on resources. Been really a back and forth game here, and excited to see that the Go Ring's able to keep up with the Sigismar in general. And at this point, going to be able to get a 2-0 and be just one advance after going down 4 spots on the Tumult. The Sigismar has not moved at all. Are we seeing the kryptonite to the Sigismar matchup in the form of a Goal Ring? Ooh, oh boy. Either way, we will see a sabotage hit that or to spy because of the legat. Um, but we do have the active recruit still available for the gold ring player that just needs one singular advance. This would be a heck of a way to start off the AWOL weekly here to have a gold ring player take the victory over our lone qualified person for the world championship recently just qualifying here from in the Netherlands this last weekend. I mean, I guess this will now be a reason for people to complain about Ortis even more. I mean, if Goldring's now just going to be on the top of the meta, right? But we will see a Jack Frost come out here and go ahead and hit that mobile armory, potentially slowing down or preventing slow play from the Goldring, who's going to go ahead and throw out a Conjuring Seal. So it looks like they have multiple of those Conjuring Seals using those rare slots as well with those Mescatets. Again, be really curious to check out the deck list in the future for the Skull Ring because it seems like it's working quite well. We do have a Scout come out here for the Aegis Templar, another card that's been using across the board here for the Ortis Heroes. I have to imagine just a solid card, especially for 1 cost, and getting the Scout, and honestly, not bad at all for the 3 cost when you play it. Kinda making some other cards a little bit less useful, including, some others that produce tokens, but, see how this turns out. We do see a sleep come out here on the Legat. Kind of a big move. Have to imagine Popeye has some type of response if Goldring decides to play on that side. And we will see a unique Kokoba come out here that creates, if you control 3 or more characters, create an Orders Recruit soldier token in each of your expeditions. And now the question is there some type of removal or stats that the Sigismar can do to stop that Kokoba as well as stop the characters on the hero side with only 3 mana? I don't know if that's it. They're going to go ahead and use the discard effect of the Alchemist to give one character fleeting, which will include that Kokoba. And then they're going to throw out the tiny jail. So it will hit the Kokoba, but currently advancing in both spots is the Golrang with 3 mana left still, so they can still throw out that Templar, and they will. So with 1 mana left, it looks like it's a pretty dire situation for the Sigismar player who's just going to use the Rallying Call. Okay, to boost up that Monoflegot, but that will itself not be enough to stop the goal ring on the hero side, and we will realistically see here a upset coming out of the goal ring player defeating potentially this Sigismar player in Altered Aces Popeye, who had taken the entire Netherlands event. What a game! After going 2-0 at the very first 2 days, we see a complete goal ring comeback here, and now we see the kryptonite for all the Sigismar players. Just play goal ring, everyone. What a first game to take a look at. Excited that we were able to take a look at that game overall and see what Goldring is capable of. I feel like they did get a lot of the setup that you would need initially to make something like this work, but still, it's not like Popeye in the Sigismar didn't have opportunities. And now we get to the part of the game where they still force the people to discard cards in reserve, even though it's not really necessary. So that's how things go. But either way, we will see DSL Deso take the victory over the Altered Aces Popeye. What a game to start us off here for the setup of the Altered Weekly Online League, AWOL Season 3, Monday Weekly number 4. And we'll see what other games that we have left that we can take a look at. That one did go quite a bit of time, so probably not a lot, but we do have 128 games going on here. And I did we have we only had one. Oh, we had a few people drop, but either way, well, actually, we had. I don't know. I'll take a look at that later. But either way, we do have some games ongoing here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up what we have left. Let's take a look at table 38. Seems like there's a low percentage left. Speaking of, we somehow get into the exact same matchup here, with another Sigismar versus Goldring play. This is gonna be the new meta, I guess. And I didn't even know it. Um, we just have Sigismar and Goldring keep on going on here. Yeah, Payne, you didn't know that? Those who can't do cast. That's why I'm here. I like dominating my local scene, but I'm afraid to play anyone on online. Online's just too good. We do have a tie game here as well of the Sigismar versus Goldring. So, oh, and you have an Aphanis mirror happening as well going on here. If we get through this game, we can take a look at that. But I I don't want to jinx it, guys, but it looks like Goldring may be the way to beat Sigismar because it's looking pretty good for the Goldring here at this moment. Um, Getting Sigismar down to just one card left in reserve here and having two Mesquitettes on the board. So even if the Sigismar gets ahead, they're going to have to contend with those Mesquitettes. Another fun card that we see out on the board is the rare Monoflegot. Honestly, a really good card. Just don't see it a lot because of the availability of the rare slots, but it does have that reserve support ability that you can just create a token, which I'm sure a lot of Gold Ring players like. As we see if we will see that accountant come out here for the Sigismar player. Question is, are they going to activate the ability to have a target character gain a sleep? And it looks like they will not. And instead opting to just assume that they can take that hero side and go a one for one here. Honestly, I'm not too upset about it if I am the gold ring player. Take a one for one, still be ahead on resources realistically because you're going to get a sabotage out with the legat. And yeah, they're going to go ahead and pass. Save their resources that they have in hand. They're already going to overload their reserve here, but I don't think they're too upset about that. And we will see a sabotage come out here from the gold ring player. They're going to go ahead and hit the attorney. They do not want to leave that Sigismar with any type of resources if possible. They'll go ahead and take a hit by getting hit by the Jack Frost in the reserve and just not allow the Sigismar to get any more cards in hand if possible with the potential on that attorney. So even after playing the carrier, it looks like the gold ring is going to keep both Mescatettes. Gonna be happy with being getting that double recruit set up on the expedition that they are behind in, opposed to just keeping carrier. Which isn't a bad idea, especially when we see the recruit coming up from the Sigismar on the hero side, and they're just gonna go ahead and start us off pretty easy here with field reinforcements that they're gonna use for the draw instead of the recruit itself, just building up on those resources when the Sigismar does not have it. And, Sigismar did, interestingly enough, decide not to mana that turn, um, keeping both cards that they have in hand. And another Whispers from the Maze card coming out here in the Bumble Beat. I think this was, like, one of the first uniques I got from the new set. So fun little card, little cute guy. Everyone likes bees. I mean, I guess not everyone likes bees, but I did just recently watch the Bee Movie again, so according to all known laws of, aviation, there's no way that bees should be able to fly. Their, tiny little wings should, not be able to get their fat little bodies off the ground. But bees, of course, fly anyway because they don't care what people think is possible. What a beautiful thing. Anyway, let's watch them altered. We do see a conscription come out here in order to put down a recruit with only one card in reserve, and we will see a from hand or to spy come out here. No other cards available here for the Sigismar. So if the Gull Ring has anything to potentially double advance on the companion side, that'll be all she wrote, and they will put out a Legat, 3 mana left, just needs one more stat, and they'll just go ahead and end this thing off here with a teamwork training. And boy, oh boy, we just saw 2 goal rings in a row beat Sigismar players in this first round of the AWOL Monday weekly number 4. Telling y'all, goal rings the new meta. I was just one set too early when I said it was gonna happen in Trial by Frost, so now we just seeing it happen in Whispers from the Maze. Want to thank you all for joining us thus far. We are watching the AWOL Season 3 Monday Weekly number 4 sold out event, 128 players out of 128 players. I believe that should be pretty close to the end of this first round here, coming up on the time limit. We do have some active games going on here, but while we're doing this, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the announcement of the um, PGA qualifier that we have going up here as far as online qualifiers. We have 3 different qualifiers if you haven't already taken a look at it. We have the European qualifier in August 16th to the 17th, the American qualifier on September 6th to the 7th, and the Asian online qualifier on September 27th to September 28th. Should be interesting setup to see how all that goes on. All right. So, cool little short article to take a look at. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and get back to the AWOL stuff here. Should be running out of time here shortly for the first round. Take a look to see if there's any games that we can wrap up with and take a look at while we are going here so you don't have to just hear me talk. And we do have at least some games going on here, so I'll go ahead and switch on over. Good old Faunus Mirror matchup that we were talking about before, I believe. And we will see how that is going. Currently, it looks like we have a lead here for the top of Faunus. but a lot going on for the bottom of Faunus, so still within range if they so choose. Faunus, another hero that got hit a little bit by the recent suspensions, but still doing quite well, I believe. We do have one of the newer Whispers from the Maze cards in Evanescence showing up here in the reserve. Yeah, Hunger is definitely a card to watch out for. Excited to see that be actively played in a world championship qualifier event. We do see a lot of sleeping going on here from the bottom of Faunus onto the top of Faunus. Still a lot of mana left here to be played though, as we have a unique Ordish Trooper coming out that has 2 at dusk effects, but we do see a Pasiphae come out here with a 4/4/4 in stats that will give the bottom of Faunus the current lead with only 1 mana left, but we will see a Beauty Sleep come out here for the top of Faunus that is going to hit the bottoms of Faunus Pasiphae and be able to block the 2-0 advance here, as both players don't have enough mana to play either of those beauty sleeps anymore. So we will see a dead even setup here on the tumult with a 1 for 0 for the bottom of Faunus, who will get to return that beauty sleep due to the at dusk effect of this Ordish Trooper right here. So a lot of cards here in reserve for the bottom of Faunus. Probably not the ideal situation, but they had to burn all of them in order to stay in this game. They do have a current advantage on the companion side, but they'll have to contend with that Category and Mage Dancer in order to take this game. So we will see a rare license withdrawal pop up here in the out of faction setup for the Afanis that will get more boosts on that Mage Dancer while removing that Pasiphae. Just a complete discard there of a boosted character. Not looking too ideal here for the bottom of Faunus. Not sure what they have in hand, but they're going to go ahead and try to slow play this with the Spindle Harvesters and see what they can make happen. We do see some beauty sleeps coming out here just to try to prevent things and potentially just get a tie. I'd have to imagine here for the bottom of Faunus being low on resources, but we do see that beauty sleep come back out here for the top of Faunus who got to return that previously. And another rare license withdrawal coming out here, this time for the bottom of Faunus here. And game will be abandoned. So we will see game in the box take the victory here over Heath. So all done there. We did go 5 minutes over the current setup, but that's how it goes. A lot of players to be played and games to be played. So we'll go ahead and switch back and take a look at the second round as I get things set up here. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the second round and see what we have going on here for the AWOL Season 3 Monday Weekly number 4 and take a look at what we have going on. I'm going to go ahead and scroll a little bit farther down on the tables to just see who we can watch that we may not always get to take a look at. And let's go ahead and take a look at table 46. Why not? We'll go ahead and switch to that as we wait things set up for things to set up. I'm just going to go over some other stuff here. We're going to go ahead and refresh things, waiting for the game art to be played. Still waiting for that as we get things set up here. We did see a fun little first round here of Goal Ring taking out two Sigismar players. And we will go ahead and switch things over here to a Tasia versus Navenka matchup. Navenka, a hero that I feel like a lot of people are excited for here in this new set. And it looks like we'll just go ahead and do a good old fashioned one for one startup here and get that. 1 second as I get some water, though, if you guys give me a little bit of a break. All right. And now we go to day two as we get a good old fashioned not Navenka, Tasia startup here with the rare spindle harvesters, getting things all ready for them. We'll wait to see what happens here for the Navenka setup. Waiting for the Tasia to discard a hand card from for mana here. A little bit of slow play here. A lot of cards to decide from for both of these players. Big important decisions. We did have a one for one setup, and we will see a unique Burrowing Noosh come out that just has a good old fashioned draw a card from anywhere. Nice little card. I feel like a lot of people are prioritizing those just straight up draw cards, even if they don't do anything crazy themselves. We do have the resupply card ability from reserve as well, if your reserve is empty. So I don't think we'll see that come into factor here, but we do see a unique Lyra Scald come out for the Navenka that will allow you to discard a card from your reserve. If you do, up to one target character gains sleep. You may have a gain two boosts. If you roll one or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus one and ignore the roll of your choice. So opting to get a little bit of dice support here and sleeping is own unique to set themselves up. I'll be interested to see how these Navenka heroes are being played. I know prior to it in set two, um, we did have a lot of aggro setup here for Navenka. So should be fun to see how they're able to map this one out and get a lot of setup realistically for dice rolling support, which I've always wanted to see. No, 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 no. Hunger is the best card ever, Pandy. How dare you say that? I don't probably not, but it's a fun card. I'm glad that they added it. I hope it doesn't get suspended. I wanna see people play it. Either way, we do see some spindle harvesters come out. We get a double dice roll here to get things moving. Will allow for a boost for that Lyra Scald. It doesn't look like we'll be seeing anything else come out from the Navenka at this point, giving up a 2-0 to the Tasia for this second day. Doing a lot of setup here. They only have two cards in hand, so that will be a big factor. The question is, does the Tasia get a draw out of that unique Burrowing Noosh, or are they going to save that for later? They will overload the reserve if they do not play anything from the reserve at this point. So I'll be curious to see if they want to go ahead and let that happen or what the plan is, trying to get as many resources as they can set up. We will go ahead and just see the setup here for the permanent in the Spindle Moon Bastion. Honestly, a good card, especially if you're going to get a 2-0 already and is going to give up that Ogun in the process. Not a bad idea. Overall, good play by the Tasia. Happy to see it. We will see a boost come out, and that will allow the resupply from the Spindle Harvesters into another tree. Now, the question is do we see the second tree come out, making it almost impossible to remove characters? With having that two spot advantage over on the tumult for the Navenka player. We will see the Spindle Harvesters come out right away, and we do see a Wayfarer come out here for the Navenka. Not a card that I expected to see a lot of here, but still a fun card. Probably in my opinion, one of the better arts that we've seen in this new set. Little fun setup here, but not always consistent depending on what you're rolling as far as dice. But they do have the ability to roll two dice with that unique currently out. So it may be a little bit more beneficial for them, but they are two spots down, and it's not always the best to be throwing down those permanents when you have to deal with being behind in the game as a whole, especially with such a presence here from the Tasia. Be curious to see if the Tasia just opts to throw out the second tree. Happy to see if they can just take a one for one here, and it does look like they will do that. Having two trees out here and having their cards be double tough, it's going to make it difficult for the Navenka to be able to interact at all. And being down on the tumult as a whole, it's looking a little bit dire for them at the moment. So I'll be curious to see if they can come up with anything here to potentially take this game. They're going to go ahead and do some rolling and hopefully tie things up on that companion side to at least get a 1 for 0. And we do get a 6-5, so they can opt for a boost. They do not hit the Wayfarer target, and they will get that boost. In fact, no need to anchor that Ouroboros Inkcaster. You're going to want to use that effect and prevent your opponent from drawing, or rather from advancing at that point. So, not a horrible spot to be in for the Navenka, but still not ideal. I'd have to imagine they're going to have to contend with two trees, some resources that we will definitely see coming out from the Tasia in the form of boosts and resupplying coming from the rare spindle harvesters, as well as that unique burrowing noosh that's been sitting in the reserve here that can get a resupply as well as a draw as soon as it is played, as long as the reserve is empty for the resupply. So we'll see how things are setting up here for stuff overall. We're waiting on mana decisions. Probably a big day for everyone to take a look at. A lot of options here for the Tasia, I'd have to imagine. A little bit less for the Navenka. Going to have to rely on everything that they have in hand at the moment and hopefully hit a Wayfarer setup, but not a guarantee, obviously. We will see the boost come out on the Spindle Harvester, allowing for a resupply. But we do get to see a Snowball Commando come out here and go ahead and exhaust things. But they do roll a 2, and that will exhaust their own Ink Caster. The roll does show a Silent Knight that will not proc the Wayfarer. Only 2 cards left at this point then for the Navenka. How will the Tasia be able to take advantage of that is the question. Taking a little bit of time to take a look at that. Oops, sorry about that. Gonna still waiting. A lot of options for Tasia. We did see the Burrowing Noosh get exhausted by the Snowball Commando, so we won't see that played quite yet, but still plenty of resources available for the Tasia in the form of the Spindle Harvesters. We do get to see a Scout come out here for with a Daedalus. This is definitely one of my favorite arts in the new set. Um, and honestly, character that I like in the lore. So glad it was coming out here with a fun little art setup. Not as big a fan as the alternate art, but what can you do? But a good card by itself, and hope we see a lot of it here in these new deck lists. At this point, though, just use for the scout setup and getting a boost out. And we will see a unique Yangsu Verdant Weaver when another character joins your expeditions if you control 2 or more plants other than me, up to 1 target character with hand cost 3 or less, other than me, gains anchored. So they have 2 mana left, so it makes me think that they do have another character, or they have something available to them to be able to anchor something. Probably in this case, the Spindle Harvester. But we'll see if that is the case. They may just decide to throw out that floral tint. I don't know. We'll see what the scenario is here. We may be just looking at that day list that got played as a scout coming out here again, but instead we will see that unique that got returned previously by the Inkcaster come out, and they'll go ahead and discard the Inkcaster in order to sleep the Snowball Commando. Interesting. So they're giving up on that companion side, opting instead to try to block things on the hero side, and we will see the Sneezer Shroom come out here, which will allow for the anchoring to happen due to that Yangsu Verdant Weaver effect, and the Navinka is gonna go ahead and throw out the roll, get a 5 roll, go ahead and boost up that Lyra Scald, get a 1 for 1 advance, still behind overall and used a lot of resources to do it, but, not completely out of it. I'm still giving the edge here, obviously, to the Tasia. Having 2 trees out, being able to anchor things constantly is gonna make it quite difficult for the Navenka to take this game. Not sure if they can be able to come back from it, but, we'll have to take a look. Get some boosts doled out here as we get some resupplies going on. We do see a Sapduende come out here from the resupply, another card from Whispers from the Maze that I have enjoyed thoroughly, especially for the pre-releases. Haven't been able to work it into a deck quite yet. No, that's not true. I put it in the Lyra deck. But yeah, fun card, especially with all the boosts going around and counter interaction. So cool card that we have here for the Tasia, as they are still ahead in the forest terrain on the companion side, despite having that Snowball Commando stay out from previous. We will see that Yangsu Verdant Weaver unique that lets things get anchored come out immediately. Question is are there enough smaller cost characters coming out here for the Tasia to be able to start anchoring even more? We're more than likely gonna be seeing that Burrowing Noosh, but, see if they have another 2 costs from hand that they can anchor another character with is the question. That the other unique for the Navenka comes out once again in the Lyra Skald, deciding on how to resolve the effect. They wanna get rid of the Daedalus in order to sleep a character and have it gain 2 boosts potentially. I'm not sure if it's a good idea to get rid of it. At this point, still running low on resources, but they may be thinking that if they don't sleep something, they're going to fall behind even more. So, a little bit of a rough spot for the Navenka, but I feel like they've been a bit of a rough spot the past few days, regardless. So, tough decision as a whole here. The good news is that Lyra Scald Unique does have 4 stats in Forest, which helps even things out a little bit on that companion expedition. They decide not to do the effect, try to keep the data list for a resource. We finally get to see that Burrowing Noosh come out and get a draw for the Tasia player. We do wait to see what the Navinka has left. At this point, I don't know if they have a 1 cost from hand. Um, Still haven't gotten a lot of usage out of that Wayfarer. Interesting card to include, especially in a rare slot, but, a little bit inconsistent till we, get some more setups here for making dice rolling a little bit more consistent for, the player as a whole, but, what can you do? We will see some dice rolling happening right now, 3 and 2, all in comes out, um we will get the boost here, and we will able to proc the Wayfarer. Looks like they chose the 3, and so we will see an all-in come out with a double Snake Eyes. Ugh. That does not feel good. So, only getting 1 boost out of that all in, only 1 mana left, does not hit anything off of the Wayfarer anyway. Another Daedalus is coming up, but still not looking ideal here. Only has 9 mana, or not 9 mana, 9 forest terrain, so still capable here for the Tasia to pull something out, and they're gonna go ahead and throw out the Ogun. That will be enough to get a double advance at this point, and throwing another character will give another anchored spot to those spindle harvesters that have been out here since the beginning of the game, back and forth from the reserve. So, not looking ideal here at the moment for the Navenka player. Fun deck to take a look at, but not quite doing the work it needs to. But it is going to throw out a Silent Knight. I didn't think they had anything for 1 mana, even though I know they should have. I should have known that. We will see a 2 roll, and he targeted himself here to keep out that Lyra Scald for the rolling options, and still has enough to advance on a 2 for 1 here. Will be down multiple spots on the tumult, 1 advance away for the Tasia player from taking this game. We'll start things off with 2 Spindle Harvesters in the companion expedition. We'll have to contest with that Lyra Scald, but the Lyra Scald only has 2 in the mountain, which is what the Tasia player needs to take the game. Yeah, the rare seems bad, Cole, but I mean, have you looked at the rare art? It looks so pretty. Sometimes that's all that matters. Um, we do have the game proceeding here. More than likely seeing the Tasia potentially just take this one with just 1 more advance needed. The Navenka decide not to mana. They want to keep both of the cards in hand. Only 7 mana left for them to work things on. And how you stand the common, that's fair. We do see another Sapped Winde come out, as well as an Aloe Vera. Magical Training, a card that the Navenka probably wanted to see a little bit earlier than this, but, better late than never, I guess. Oh, I mean, maybe not always, especially with only 6 mana left at this point, but we'll see, we'll see. They could still make it happen, I believe. Not really. It could happen, is what I should say. It's possible. Something's always possible. As we wait to see what the Tasia can come up with here to completely decimate the Navenka player here in the Swiss round two of the Altered Weekly Online League Monday weekly number four. We are in the Swiss round two. We got to start off the games here in Swiss round one with two goal rank victories over Sigmars, so that's been interesting. We have an aloe vera coming out here, not using the additional effect to anchor it. At this point, who needs it? We just need to advance once, and if I can throw as many characters out as possible, it's going to be hard for the Navinka to stop, especially with having that Ogun still in the reserve. Be able to play another aloe vera that we see, as well as an Ogun potentially, and we also just don't know what's in hand. So looking quite good here for the Tasia, but we will see a Snowball Commando hit that Sap Duende, and a 1-2 roll will mean that we will see an exhaust here going on to the Navenka player. Wayfarer once again does not hit its mark. We see a Daedalus on the top of the deck. Not going to allow them to keep that all in, it looks like. Now we see what Tasia is going to come up with here. We may just see something as simple as the two characters in reserve being played, or they have something as a little bit of a surprise in hand. Either way, looking pretty positive for them ahead on both expeditions and just needs one singular advance to take the game. I want to say thanks for everyone that's joined us thus far. I know Crowbar hasn't spoke up yet, but you never know. It could happen. We do see a Daedalus Scout come out here. Only 3 mana left here for the Navinka player. Could throw the Daedalus out again, but it is not looking like they'll be able to stop both sides. We will see that reserve play that I mentioned prior come out here for the Tasia player and all but wrap this one up with so many stats on the board. Navinka is down to just playing the Daedalus. Yeah, 0 mana left. They're gonna go ahead and roll 6-3. See which one they pick. Opt in for the boost, and they'll go ahead and since they already know the top card, I guess you pick the 3 for the Daedalus. Um, Might have been a big play if there was less stats on the board for the Tasia, but I don't think that is the scenario here. We do see some removal pop up, not that that would have helped, because there is just so much tree blockage happening for the Tasia to prevent the Navenka from hitting any of the characters. Able to hit the 3 though, so they can since they've already proc the Wayfarer though, they cannot play it for free, which I take so unfortunate. Tasia takes the one win, and we will see Navinka lose this game. Still a little bit closer than I thought. I feel like they were playing from behind the entire time though, so congratulations to Gab1 from AEG, and we'll go ahead and take a look and go back here and see what we have left here in the Swiss round 2 of the A.W.O.L Altered Weekly Online League Season 3 Monday Weekly number 4. I am in fact blue back after I haven't been around since the demo deck event, I don't think, as far as commentary is concerned. So happy to be here. Get some commentary in. I am of course casting with Crowbar, not Finn. Finn's just trying to absorb the spotlight as is usual. But what can you do? Let's see what we have left here in the Swiss round 2. Good amount of games still in play, but it looks like they are moving quite fast. So we'll go ahead and jump in as soon as we can here. Let's go ahead and take a look at table 20. Why not table 20? Go ahead and go to the game. And we have another Sigismar versus Goldring setup. I'm telling you, this is the new meta. I must have just missed it or something. I don't know. Um, uh, why didn't we see more of this happen at the Netherlands event. This constant goal ring versus Sigismar. Looks like the Sigismar might be able to take this one though. We might not see another comeback here from the goal ring player, using the last bit of their mana here for the Ortis Overseer. And with only one advance needed for the Sigismar player, it looks like they're going to be able to take this one on both sides. Yeah, Dutch qualifiers changed everything apparently. We didn't even know that the goal ring was the counter to the Sigismar until now, though. So you can thank AWOL for that. We will see Sigismar take the victory here with a double advance, and goal ring still making it close though. It's can't win them all. Kinji taking that one for DSL, and we'll head on back to see what else we have going on within this tournament. Few games left here in the Swiss round two. You are watching the Altered Weekly Online League Season 3 Monday Weekly number 4. As we take a look to see what games are left to play. Looks like there's only a few, so we'll go ahead and jump in on table 45 to see if we can catch the end of that. Another goal ring player. Everyone just loves goal ring these days. Versus a Kesha this time around with the scribbling starfish. I feel like that's been a popular card. Um, Everyone likes to draw, so I can see why it could be a good one to play. We do have a unique Aegis Templar here. Fun little art, all armored out. If you control 10 or more mana orbs, create 2 Orders Recruit Soldiers in my expedition, and when you create a token, if your hero expedition is behind target character in play or in reserve, gains 2 boosts. Okay, fun little setup. I would say Keelan Guy is my favorite Swiss, but I prefer the guy who keeps all my money in the undisclosed banking account. I mean, what? No, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Either way, we do have one advance away from Akesha here to beat the goal ring player who did reach 8 mana, but is still quite far behind and does not have the good old fashioned Mesquite setup. A lot of goal rings, though. It's cool to see. Feel like we didn't get to see a lot of them previously. Waru still dead, though, it seems like. I will absolutely not scream your name, Cole, but can have someone else do it for you. We do have the goal ring just kind of waiting this out here. They don't have any mana, so it looks like they're just not wanting to play. I don't know. I can't figure out the strategy here from the goal ring. Potentially waiting for Cole to come back so that the round can end on time for Cole while they are going to the bathroom. So who knows? Either way, looks like this game is going to wrap up here. So I am going to go ahead and head back to see if I can catch another game for you lovely folks to watch. So you don't have to watch the goal ring do the wonderful stall tactics. Gonna head back and see what other games we have left going here in the Swiss round two for this AWOL event. I don't believe there is much left. I Yep, this is in fact the last game. So oh no, there is table 17. See if we can watch table 17 wrap up here. An error. We're gonna refresh it though, so y'all can take a look. It is down to the last bit, but we're gonna go ahead and just see originality win. All right. I believe that should wrap things up for the Swiss round two. We'll be heading into Swiss round three here shortly. Once again, I want to thank everyone that has joined us thus far. You are watching the AWOL Season 3 Monday Weekly number 4. If you haven't already, um, The BGA qualifiers have been posted as far as the 3 different regions that they have them set up for. So go ahead and check that out. Set your calendars if you haven't already set your calendars for something else, and plan to join those online qualifiers. Would be really cool to see who we get to take and win those qualifiers, and maybe even win the entire world championship. Who knows? I don't. That's for sure. We're gonna wait here real quick. I think we're only waiting on that gold ring player to decide if they want to play, and we are in fact in the Swiss round three. Going on to see what we can watch here. We'll probably do a little bit of scrolling down a little bit farther before we get into the top tippity top tables, just so that we can see some folks that we may not get to see otherwise. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at table 49. That table's speaking to me. I don't know why. Table 49. We'll wait for the game art to load. Thanks for everyone that has joined us thus far. Someone be sure to yell out Cole's name, let him know that the next round is started. I'm not gonna do it though, but you guys can. Oh, ooh, we're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh? Sweet. I like Morphotronics. That's new of Yu-Gi-Oh that I get into. But we're gonna go ahead and let the game art here load for the Altered Aces. Altered Aces? Altered? Jesus. Altered Aces, Popeye won the recent Netherlands event, so only person to qualify, but they lost the first round in AWOL, so that just shows how better the competition is in AWOL. It's crazy, right? I'm just kidding. Great event that the Netherlands folks ran. I believe they're releasing the videos here as far as the recorded content. Be sure to check that out. We do have a event coming up. Event. We do have this game going on here with Finn and Crowbar versus Tasia and Nara. Crowbar actually playing the game as they are casting here with me, so double effect there. Being able to do multiple things and be, I know ambidextrous isn't the right word, but I'm going to use it anyway. Being ambidextrous, casting and commentating with me at the same time using both hands, as well as playing the guitar. So um, maybe they have multiple hands that I'm not aware of. Either way, let's not get too weird. We do have a 1 for 0 happening here for the Tasia, taking that initial day. We do see a little mouse come out, little cute guy. I am a big fan of this card. Muna did need some sabotage, and this he's just cute. I love sabotage in general. It's probably my favorite little setup. It's his favorite mechanic in the game as a whole. You do get to let your opponent exhausted resupply, but I mean, Finn gets to resupply so much anyway, so let him. We will see a acapella training come out on the little mouse, not let them be a little mouse next turn. So a little bit rude by the Finn player. I imagine that was not Crowbar who did that. It was probably a Finn decision. Finn's probably the most hated hero of all time, and honestly, can you blame him? I mean, they have the coolest chimera in Crowbar, and they do stuff like that. It's crazy. We do see a 1 for 1 here happening with a Martingale coming out from the Finn and the Little Mouse for the Tasia player, getting some sabotage going. A little bit less as far as resources for the Tasia player, as the Finn is currently going to be ahead in the reserve, but they are down on the tumult. So we'll see if the Tasia can take advantage of that at the very least. Ooh, they get a nice little Anansi resupply, which I'm sure they are happy to get sorted. We'll go ahead and bring up a Hathor as well. Another card that you definitely want in reserve. So not bad setups here for the Finn and Crowbar having the Tech Lab unit out as well. Tasia gonna start us off with a nice little dragon play. It's a smaller one than the big dragon, but still nonetheless, he's a dragon. I wonder if we're gonna get to see some more dragon support. We got to see animal support recently. We should get some more dragon support here in future sets. Everyone loves dragons. That'll be on my list. Equinox. Let's get some dragon support. We got plant support, we got robot support, we have animal support now. I want dragon support. Either way, Martingale coming out again here for the Finn, this time from hand. 2 mana left per player. More than likely going to be seeing a potential 1 for 1 again, but you never know what could happen. Then deciding what they want to do here, what to do, what to do. Probably not going to be seeing that Anansi come out unless they're afraid. Who knows? But they are going to throw the Anansi out, and they're just going to take the tie. Yeah, they just want to prevent the Tasia from getting the 1 for 1. Not a bad idea. I thought they were going to try to save the resources, but deciding to go ahead and grip it and rip it. Dragon support. I want to see dragon support. Cool. We got plant support, robot support, all the other supports. Why not dragon support? Dragons just seem to be a good time. Everyone likes dragons. But we do see a resupply into another acapella training, more cards that could potentially affect the Tasia. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Mm, confirm. All right, glad I was able to do that for the entire chat. Um, Now that we aren't distracted by Cole CG, we can focus on some top altered gameplay. Where we're going to go and see a Hathor return a acapella training to hand. So they're potentially just going to use that as a little bit of a slow play here and reduce the resources that we see even more from the Tasia, who's going to get a fleeting on their little dragon and maybe even see one on the Alabari, even though it has anchored already. Could just be used for future turns and just to see where they want to play later on if they want to slow play. They do get to resupply into a mana reaping. Um, but as far as things that they want to see for the resupply, probably not ideal there. They probably wanted to see some characters. Oh, cool, Robbie. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you were able to join the stream. Um, got a lot of games going on here, some exciting stuff. Do have goal rings being quite prevalent this time around for AWOL. So if you like goal ring, this is the place to be. We do see another acapella training coming out here, and they will in fact hit that aloe vera, as I had mentioned before, even though it has anchored. Just another way to slow play things out. And now they get to decide what the 4 mana they have left, what they want to do. And we will see that rare Hatter play from hand come out for the 4, block that aloe vera, and get an advance of their own. The little dragon there is going to get to go away because it was given fleeting by the acapella training. So I'll leave it on the tumult, but it does look like the Finn is keeping pace with the Tasia as well as getting just more resources as Finn does. Gold Ring, the only somewhat acceptable Ortis. I mean, you already killed off Waru, so I don't know what else you want. We can't get rid of all of them, you know. As we do see another resupply coming out here into a mana reaping. You know, I'm always happy to see removal unless it's getting resupplied. I I don't want to see it in the reserve. Yeah, sometimes it can act as a preventative measure, but I'm not a fan if I'm the Tasia at this point. We do see a unique layer cloth dancer in the reserve. When a car leaves your reserve during the afternoon, up to one target character gains fleeting. So even more control as far as resources against your opponent. Be curious to see if we see that come out here. Probably not. Maybe. Who knows? Lyra Thespian coming out, big boosts all around the time, just getting an effect off of that. One of the better out of faction cards for Tasia for sure. They should pay for their crimes. They're the ones who get to decide payment for crimes. So why should they punish themselves? We do see a data list come out and responded to with a requiem that will go ahead and just remove that data list because it has fleeting. So at least for the time being, it took all the resources to do it, but Tasia looking pretty good as a potential 2-0 here, depending on what the Finn has left. And they are just going to opt for a sleight of hand. Be curious to see what they pick up here. Maybe the Cloth Dancer might not be a bad one to pick up here, especially being played 2 from hand. Taking their time here to decide what they wanna do, though. They do have 2 Tech Lab units, so they're not really particularly worried about losing cards in reserve. Kind of disappointed that I haven't seen more Lyric Contortionists, to be honest. Big fan of Lyric Contortionists, but I understand why. It's harder to integrate some new cards, but Lyric Contortionist is was a fun card when I was playing the demo decks once upon a time. You'll see the Mana Reaping just being gripped it and ripped it here in one of the permanents for the Fin and Crowbar. But they will just to be able to use that Hathor to do something if they so choose. We will see cost reduction on the Martingale to just go ahead and throw out that unique. 2 roll will mean that we do not get to see a sleep. So probably not what they were looking for. But we will see an anchor come out here for the Lyra Cloth Dancer. So they can still use that effect of when a card leaves your reserve. The question is, will they proc it now? Really, no need to because I already gave fleeting to the remaining character. So just a battle of resources at this point, realistically. The Tasia does get the advantage here as far as getting a 2-0 on the Tumult, but will be reduced to only 2 cards in reserve. The Floral Tint is a good one to have, especially back in the reserve, especially for the resupply. Be curious to see if they decide to mana this turn. I feel like they may need to. I'm not quite sure what their curve is, but they're already 2 mana down to the Fin, and I don't know if they can afford to do it to not mana, and so they are in fact going to mana. We will see a magical training come out here for the Fin and Crowbar player in the resupply. We're going to see an automatic mana reaping coming out and hitting that Cloth Dancer. They do not want to see any more of their cards gain fleeting. So instead, we will see a sleight of hand from the Fin. They want that magical training back in hand, and they're like, it's fine. I'll throw a Tech Lab unit to reserve. I can just play that from reserve anyway. Don't really need it. Plus, I have a Hathor, so who cares? So, more than likely, we may just be seeing a magical training to a Hathor return to another magical training for the Fin. Who knows? But that seems to be the ideal play as far as I can see it. An Ogun pops out for the Tasia. Probably not too useful at this moment, as we do see the start of the magical training play. 4 mana left for the Tasia. They are up on the Tumult, but again, running low on resources. The Thespian comes out, will not get the effect that usually gives it 2 boosts because there was no other boosted character available. And they somehow drew into another magical training for the Fen. So they just played that one from hand. Definitely can still do some more work here if they so choose with the Hathor. The Ogun comes out just purely for the stats, it looks like, for the Tasia, not having anything else left to play with, trying to put pressure on the board. We do see a unique Martingale come out. When you play another character with base stat statistic of 0, you may pay 1. If you do, up to 1 target character with hand cost 3 or less, other than me, gains anchored. So ability to anchor things out. Not sure where they're going with it. They're gonna go and just play the Hathor instead of returning for the magical training. Interesting. Purely just to anchor the Hathor. Um, doesn't help them out here as far as advancements because they are in a water only setup, but it does prevent the advancement from the Tasia, and they will get the 1 for 0 because of it. Tasia down to just the Lyra Thespian in reserve at the moment. Finn having 3 cards in reserve that they can in fact keep due to the Tech Lab unit. And now we will go to another day where just splitting things up and trying to get one advance from the Tasia did not quite work out for them there with the Hathor available to the Finn. Still not really doing a lot of things for them as far as advancing, but is pretty good for the block for the Tasia who decides not to mana. The Finn getting the advantage of having a lot more mana than the Tasia due to 2 mana reapings, I believe, at this point. Um, But do we will see this third Tech Club unit come out here. I believe one of them got removed already. And that hits a Hathor, which honestly, I'm pretty sure the Finn is glad to see. I can't imagine you're ever unhappy to see a resupply into a Hathor. We do see a floor come out for the Tasia. Not going to do anything crazy here from hand. Does get the boost from the Tasia ability, but only one stat above that Hathor at the moment to potentially advance on that companion side with the mountain terrain. A lot of mana for the Finn to work with, though, and they are, in fact, going to use that support ability from the Hathor to return that magical training, play the magical training, and just slow play it. You have so much more mana than your opponent. See what they have left. You know they have at least the Thespian, but past that, you can still probably see what's in hand. And Tasia is just going to pass, opting to just let the Finn play for free. So the Finn can definitely get a 2-0 here, and the Tasha's just gonna go all in on the following day to try to stop that Finn and maybe get a 2-0 for themselves, depending on what they draw. Seems like that's the play. We will see the Martingale come out again, potentially anchor another card. They're gonna go ahead and throw out the Daedalus, get some boosts going. Does have a 0 statistic, so something can get anchored for an additional 1 mana. It will be the Daedalus. And we will see a 2-0 advance here for the Finn, as well as setting up for even more with the Haven Seringer. And we'll be going down to potentially the last day here where Latasia's betting it all here to see if they can get their own 2-0 to win the game, or at the very least, prevent the Finn from taking the game, which will be difficult to do, especially with that data list, starting them off with the 3 statistics in the mountain that they need to advance on the hero side. Floor will be available for the Tasia, though, at noon. Another target character in play or in reserve gains a boost, so it will be able to boost up that Lyra Thespian. A little benefit from the Whispers from the Maze set, being able to boost up reserve cards. Thespian will be able to activate its ability potentially as well, if they so choose. They're going to go ahead and play it first, though. So will not get the additional ability there. Maybe afraid of some type of sabotage. I'm not quite sure. Feel like they might have wanted to set up and get that Thespian even more boost, but that's the play. Maybe they didn't draw something that they wanted there. The Raven Seringer comes out, getting that additional boost from reserve. With the sleight of hand, we may also see a magical training reserve to hand again for the Finn. Uh, Tasia kind of just stacking up on the companion side, so I don't know if they got what they needed to potentially take care of that hero side, but we'll have to wait and see what they have in hand. Ouroboros Inkcaster is the play for the Finn. We will see a unique Kitsune come out. Each player may resupply at dusk if you control 2 or more boosted characters. Up to 1 target character with handcast 3 or less gets anchored. So it is enough to block that data list for the time being. Both players decide to resupply. Now the question will be is can the Tasia maintain? The Snoozer Shroom will not help on that hero side. It would be good to block the forest on the companion side, but that's about it. Pass from the Tasia, though. They're not going to even bother throwing out the Snoozer Shroom. And it's probably because they just think they can't deal with the 2 Clop Cocoons at this point, which can hit both of their characters. Tasia kind of giving things up at this point. Not a bad game, though. They played what they could, but it looks like we will see the victory from the Finn and Crowbar. Crowbar on the commentary desk while winning games within the altered setup here at the AWOL. Weekly number 4 for Monday. Congratulations to the Finn player in Shroomf. Shroomf? Yeah, I'm gonna say it's Shroomf. Once again, I want to thank everyone that has joined us thus far. I am Blue, joined by Crowbar for this commentary setup that we have here for the Altered Weekly Online League Season 3, Monday Weekly number 4. We do have a lot of games potentially still going on here in the Swiss round three. We are in the active Swiss round three. Yeah, still got a good amount of games being played. So we'll go ahead and jump into them here. I'm going to go and take a look at table 25. Still at a pretty low percentage. Not that the BGA percentages are always accurate, but we can hope. And we'll go into the gameplay here. We get to watch Overlost again on the goal ring. Maybe that's why I keep on seeing goal ring play is because I just see percentages and look instead of looking at players, and more than likely, the ones with goal ring are gonna be the ones with low percentages, right? Either way, Overlost, the goal ring that everyone knows is currently even with the Afonis, but the Afonis does have a lot of cards in hand. So we'll see if Overlost can take this one. Next time, I'll be sure to pay attention to the players so we don't get too many repeats for everyone to take a look at, but everyone likes goal ring play. Why not? I'm always with Crowbar, Acraft. How dare you say otherwise? We do see a Mescatet come to the reserve here, due to the Atlas ability, where you can draw a card if you put a card from your hand in reserve. Tokens you control are gigantic, fun little unique. That Mescatet will get immediately hit by a Sabotage, though, thanks to the Aphonis' Tooth Fairy. Gotta love Sabotage. Conscription will pop out here. It will allow the tokens that are produced to have Gigantic. I imagine we will be targeting their opponent's reserve to get 2 recruits. Doesn't really matter where you put it at this moment because they will be gigantic, but, it could matter in some capacity. More slow play for the Aphonis, though, more surprises there, as the Spindle Harvester comes out, we will see a response from the Goal Ring with the Teamwork Training. Have to imagine hitting the Anchored Spindle Harvester, unless there's something else that they wanna hit, and it, in fact, will be that Anchored Spindle Harvester. Only 1 card left in hand for Overloss on the Go Ring. We'll see if they have anything that they can play with the 1 mana. Still a lot available for the Aphonis, though, especially with the 1 cost Katagarin Mage Dancer available to them as well. There is no acceptable Ortis. Man, does it hurt being so wrong? Must. This must feel so bad being wrong all the time. Guess that's what happens when you, throw your lot in with kohlrabi. Can't imagine. Either way, Mage Dancer coming out here. Curious if there's anything that, the Aphonis has to help them set things up. They will go ahead and throw out a magical training, get some boosts out on the Mage Dancer, and I have to imagine the Sneezer Shroom as well at some point. No, they're gonna opt for something separate. Keylon guy's never been wrong, except for living in Switzerland, right? Where you can't get any cards. Sorry, that was mean. Either way, you got other benefits for living there. At least you're not living in certain parts of the United States where we have to deal with shit. But, let's get back to the game. More boosts getting doled out by the Aphonis. We have, Sneezer Shroom getting some boosts as well, and, just more drawing happening, just free play for the Aphonis realistically. Finally able to get over the goal ring on the hero side as well as the companion side, which will allow for a double advance and, put them 1 away from taking the game. Probably not what, Overloss was looking for on the goal ring to get just all those resources available to the Aphonis, but them's the break sometimes. Only 1 card left for the goal ring player, maybe more depending on what they decide to mana. You'd punch back, but it just feels wrong. Yeah. Yeah, we could talk about countries, but I prefer not to. So I appreciate you holding back. Um, let's, watch, Faunus probably take the rest of this game, though. We do see a license withdrawal coming out here for The goal ring player, go ahead and take out that sneezer shroom. A lot of cards are left for the Afonis, though. Yep. Yeah. He is, in fact, stacked. We will see a Hypothermia coming out here. Fun card. Hoping that the Afonis just does not have any other characters and he can just Hypothermia his way out of this. But we will, in fact, see another character in the Orders Trooper. You may return a spell from your reserve to your hand. Not a bad unique to have for the Afonis. Another Hypothermia is going to be played. Faunus just probably going to opt to sleep the same Mage Dancer, which they in fact do. Kind of desperation season for Overloss on the goal ring. Not much you can do though, especially after giving up that 2-0 in the previous day. Kind of threw everything you could with that unique Atlas, but just too many resources available for the Afonis realistically. And we will see the Afonis take the game and kind of add a little bit of an insult to it and go ahead and sleep the last character. But, good games to both players. Yeah, at least he's getting stream time, Pandy. I mean, even if you're losing on stream, you gotta enjoy it. We will see a victory here for the Faunus player, and, yeah, probably wait for him to pass, but, I'm gonna go ahead and head back so we can watch some more games for everybody. Once again, I wanna thank everyone that has joined us thus far. You are, in fact, watching the AWOL Season 3 Monday Weekly number 4. Number 4 this Monday. Sold out event, 128 players out of 128 players. We saw some early upset victories from some goal rank players in round 1, so should be fun to see if we get to see them shine all the way through to the finals. Maybe not, who knows? But it's been fun watching them regardless at this point. Let's take a look to see what games we have left. Actually, not that many left here in the Swiss round 3. So let's see, go over to the one that we do have left in table 4. And it just ended. So we are actually just waiting for that Overloss game to wrap up, and we'll go straight into round 4. Actually, a fairly quick round in comparison that we've seen thus far. So once that one wraps up, we'll go into Swiss round 4. Thank you again, everyone that has been watching. We have been watching Blue Oak TV on YouTube, and we do have Crowbar joining with me thus far. Yeah, sorry, Overlast. It's a curse. I won't view you anymore. Or unless you go farther. I don't know. We'll see. I just like seeing Gold Ring. I'm sorry. Um, we do see Crowbar here. Crowbar will in fact speak if you want to hear Crowbar speak at some point in the cast. I can't guarantee you when that's going to happen, but at some point Crowbar will speak. So just enjoy. We'll wait for the Swiss round 4 to start here shortly as I do some refreshing. Should be any moment now. One on. Come on, come on, come on. Does anyone have any requests on games that we should be watching? I do requests. That's the beauty of being the only person commentating at the moment, or person. Just remember that that Crowbar is here, but is in fact a chimera. So, as soon as the next round pops up, we'll go ahead and jump in, and we do have it up. We are in Swiss round 4 of 6. Probably the last one that I won't necessarily be going initially to the top tables, but if anyone does want to make a suggestion, feel free. We can take a look. He had negative 30 seconds. He was trying to. I was wondering why it didn't seem too far for you over loss. I just assumed it was the nature of goal ring play where it seemed like percentages were low. All right. Well, if no one has any suggestions for games, I'll just do my good old fashioned random pickeroni. Oh, lame. Kohlrabi got a buy. Why is that allowed? Let's see. Let's see what we can take a look at here. Let's take a look at table 45. Why not? We'll wait for the game art to load. Um, I am free for questions as well. Who do we think's gonna win the French qualifier? Does anyone have any bets on who's gonna take that one? Will Altered Aces take another one in a row? Um, or will we see another team or just another random individual take that qualifier? Should be a pretty big event, so excited to see what we got going there. As we wait for more game art to load, we are in game here, so let's take a look at what we have. We have TNT Vic Hill on the Tasia, as we have all of the marbles on the Traced. Some Trace gameplay. Runefolk, a big fan of the Trace, saying that it's going to be completely meta and it's not an upset anymore. So I'm going to hold them to it. We do see a unique Capellia come out. When I go to the reserve from the Exposition Zone, you may play me for free and I gain a sleep. At dusk, you may put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do, draw a card. So pretty cool card, especially since it can sleep itself and you have the ability to draw as well as put a card in your reserve. So nice little trace setup. So definitely a big fan of this trace unique. Leave it to all of the marbles to find some amazing uniques. Can't beat that guy. Crazy. We do have a 1 for 1 this time around. Yeah, sorry guys. Just keep and think that there's a delay, and I have no idea. No, no, you have to say all trace, Runefolk. I'm sorry. I'm holding you to it. All trace. I've wrote it down. Runefolk thinks all trace are amazing, so can't back out now. That's how it is. We are looking at a second day here. Both players setting things up for future things. And see, thank you. I'm glad you stuck to it, Runefolk. I didn't want to have to call you a flip flopper. Uh, we do have Axiom Salvager coming out here from reserve. First counter getting set up for the Traced. As we see another anchored spindle harvester come out. We do have a common spindle harvester coming out as far as the Tasia. Now, when I see common spindle harvesters, I always think Lyra Festival, but I don't often see Lyra Festival Tasias. So maybe it's just a case where they making rare slots. I don't know, but I'm always thinking Lyra Festival when I see common spindle harvesters. Hello, Tripstar. Thanks for using the YouTube emojis that hardly ever anyone ever uses. That's the one thing YouTube just really doesn't do it for, is as far as like the little emoji setups. But what can you do? Sap Duende coming out here for the Tasia player. Awesome card. Glad they're using it. Gonna do some swippity swappeting for some boosts on their own players, I imagine, unless they want to give their opponent some boosts. I don't think so. Maybe they're just using it for the draw. I'm not sure. They're going to go and swap it with the Spindle Harvester and the Dracena. Little Dragon. Again, if anyone has any sway on from Equinox that is building the new sets, let's get more Dragon support if it's not already in the works. Love it. We do see that Capellia effect come into effect. We do have a second Capellia that I missed. When I go to the reserve from the Expedition Zone, you may play me for free. I gain a sleep. You may put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do, draw a card. It is literally the same thing, just with different stats. Okay. All right. All the marbles just really hitting that marketplace hard. We do see a Snap Sniffer, Sap Sniffer come to the reserve here. We'll have a little bit of an overloaded reserve, but sure he doesn't mind. Be able to throw out that second Capellia. Just getting more draws and more cards leaving the reserve, or more cards set up into the reserve, rather. So we do have an advantage here, though, for the Tasia at this point. 2 spots up on the tumult. Question is all this setup here with the Capelia, will all the marbles on the trace be able to hit the counters that they need, regardless of if they have the bug fix loop, right, Runefolk, right? Um, and utilize those counters as needed to keep on getting some even more card draw. But in the meantime, we will see the Bumblebeat get a boost from the reserve for the Tasia as we see the little dragon come out once again. Not a bad spot for it to land. Good to block the mountain, enough to get the water terrain, and who cares about forest on that side at the very least. As we wait for all the marbles to get things going. Yeah, who needs anything else? um Yeah, these Capellias are just they're for fun, rune folk. You don't understand. If there's 2 of them, you think he has a 3rd Capellia? I haven't looked at his deck list, but I hope he has a 3rd Capellia that does exactly the same thing, just with different stats. We will see the rare Ada Lovelace come out here. Go ahead and get some card draw going, as well as putting a card in your reserve. And you know what? Axiom Salvager is not a bad card to put in your reserve. So, looking at more and more counters here for the Trace player. They are down on the Tumult though, so now does the Tasha just try to win one side and just keep on keeping on and taking that advantage and only need a few more? Yeah, I mean, if you have to, you may as well have a third, right? We do see an avalanche coming up here, knocking out both cards on that companion zone. So we will not see an advance at all from the Tasia, stacking up too hard on the companion side. Yeah, Capelia uniques are indeed quite fun. We will see the Capelia effect come into effect here with a Tinkerbell and an Amelia Earhart to get some double draw. Again, we will see a little bit of an overload here. I'd be curious to see if he has any uh, reserve extension like tech lab units or something to be able to have a bigger reserve. Maybe not. I don't think it's really required at this point, but could be cool. They're gonna decide to get rid of the sap sniffer. Why am I having such a trouble saying that word? Sap sniffer instead of snap sniffer. And the Axiom Salvager, which is very interesting. Instead, keeping around the sabotage and the one cost Amelia Earhart play. I have not seen a lot of Trace gameplay as of late, but cool to see the different varieties that we can get going here, especially with these Capelia uniques, getting 2 of them out right away. We'll have at least one more at dusk play of the second Capelia available to them. And at this moment, being pretty close to hitting 5 counters, have to think that it is possible for them to do it this day, but not necessarily a requirement. So we'll see what happens. We'll go ahead and get that sabotage in play and hitting the bumblebee, maybe. Nope, they want to get rid of the sneezer shroom because they don't want to see any more anchors. So always a good play there, not letting your opponent have any anchored characters. As I drink some water. Sabash, I that is honestly my least favorite Axiom hero. I have seen that great video that's been posted recently. If I actually liked the hero more, I might be tempted to play it too, but in the meantime, I can just support videos. Gotta support your local content creators, folks. We have a lot of different people doing some different content for a lot of things, so if you do, make sure you look at that content sharing page on the Altered Discord and watch some videos. Appreciate it. We do see an Ortis accountant come out in the out of faction. Just some setup here for the Tasia player, trying to get a singular advance, going 1 for 1. As we see the final use of that Capelia effect at dusk, throwing another Salvager to the reserve. I think we've seen 3 Salvagers to reserve from just the Capella effect. We will see the trace hit that fifth counter here more than likely in this following day. We have not seen any bug fixes though, Runefolk. Kidding. Um, Subash is definitely and I know I'm not saying it right, but definitely a unique hero. I'm just not a big fan of it. There's a hero I think in each faction that I'm not a fan of that I just haven't made decks for. Subash is one of them. Bravos is actually I've made a deck with all three of those. I think because of that, it's probably my most fun faction to play is Bravos because I've played all three heroes. Lyra, I have not made an Aurak deck. I don't think I ever plan to, unless it maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. Muna, I just don't like Muna as a whole, but I will play good old fashioned Arjun. Arjun is the redeeming factor for Muna. As we see a Icebound Peak come out here for the Trace player and all of the marbles. Could be fun to see how they can make this work. And then the other factions, Ortis, I've made a deck for all three, and um, Ysmir. I actually have not made an Aphanis deck. I just don't really like Aphanis. I know he's good, but I'm just not a big fan. But yeah, not a big Aphanis fan. But yeah, that's why I like Bravos and Ortis the most. I think it was confirmed to me when I made a deck for all three heroes at some point. But we do see 5 counters get hit here. Um, and we'll see what they can make of it at this moment. They are down on the tumult here. We do have a unique young Sovereign Weaver in play from hand. If you control 2 or more plants other than me, target character gains anchored, and from reserved characters you control gain 1 boost. As we see the Ortis accountant come out here, decides not to use the effect, instead opting entirely for the boost that itself has. Um, Guess they don't really need to sleep something and give it 2 boosts, so they're just trying to maintain the board advantage. They will get hit immediately, though, by that Keylon burst, and so we will see a 1 for 1, it looks like. But we can also just see the Trace use its ability just for funsies, and they, in fact, will use it for funsies. Put a card in reserve, get another counter on the Icebound Peak. No, they're not going to. Depending, they could have a 0 cost, I don't know. They're not gonna have a 0 cost, but, they instead threw a rare Muna Druid, another cool card that allows for some anchoring to happen. 2 advances away from the for the Tasia to take the game. They are quite low on resources, and they will not get a secondary boost on that Spindle Harvester. Not that it matters because it is a common, like I mentioned before. Not used to seeing a lot of common Spindle Harvesters. I always think a, Lyra Festival when that happens, but what can you do? Elio is the coolest person on the world? Yeah, I mean, he is pretty cool, I can't deny that. Is he the coolest, though? Yeah, you're probably right, Pandy, I don't even know why I'm arguing it. He is probably, my favorite individual content creator other than myself. But that goes without saying, right? Anyway, we do see a Snoozer Shroom come out in the common variety, throwing a lot of stats up in the terrains that matter. We'll see if all of the marbles on the trace can make do with finally having 5 counters, getting as many card draw as possible with those unique Capellias available to them. They should be able to activate the peak. The question is do they want to play anything else from hand to get max benefit on the peak or not? They are going to go ahead and just use their ability for now, see what they can get with the card draw. Not a bad choice. They are going to throw down that Keylon Elemental. Feel like if they have the opportunity, they're probably going to play some from hand. Yeah, we will see the Grims come from hand. So they can still play Multiple cards here. I think they're probably going to activate the peak soon, but who knows? We'll see what they have left. Yongsu Verdant Weaver comes out. Will activate the reserve effect of giving everything one boost. Only 2 mana left here for the Tasia player. Could still play something from hand, but not sure what they have left. Not tier one meta, Brewfolk. You can't go back. I thought Trace was the best. Come on, all Trace OP. I literally scroll up and I see it right there. Runefolk. Okay, all traced OP. You got to back it up, man. We do see another from hand play here from the Trace player. So we're going to be looking at one more card being played from reserve to activate the peak, and we will see a 2-0 here, it looks like, for the Trace. So put them one away from taking the game. Yeah, thank you, folk. You can't just change your mind like that, man. People depend on you. Um, we will see all that going on here for the Trace. A bunch of boosts, big dragon that gets anchored due to the Moona Druid effect. Good setup here for the following turn, and we will see the fleeting removal happen as well. A lot of cards in reserve, though. Should be interesting to see what they decide to keep. Looks like we'll go with the Ada Lovelace and the stats that we will see from the Keelan Elemental. So we did get the early advantage here for the Tasia player. The Trace able to make a big play here with the Icebound Peak and setting themselves up quite nicely with an anchored Dragon Shade. Now the question is, does the Tasia have anything that can deal with that Dragon Shade? Or at the very least, try to go over the top of it. Going to be quite difficult, even with 8 mana. But with what we see, not a lot for them to work with. Starting us off with the Snoozer Shroom, though, and an Ada Lovelace in response from the Trace. Bug Bug fix loop is sick. Yeah. I think Bug fix is a card that once everyone saw it come out in pre-releases, it seemed like it would be something fun to mess with. I just like all the counter interaction as a whole, to be honest. We do see another Ada Lovelace come out here from reserve. More card draw, more cards from reserve, even without the early season one meta of Haven Bravos Bastion. Look at this tier one Trace that Runefolk called from the very beginning, um, potentially taking this game. He was telling me, even from the first round, Trace is OP. So didn't know Runefolk is the meta definer. Any folks in here in the chat planning on joining the recently announced BGA online qualifiers? You haven't checked it out already, they'll have one for 3 major regions over in Europe, Asia, and North America. So be sure to take a look at it time-wise and get things set up. We do see another unique setup here in the Young Su Verdant Weaver. If you control 2 or more plants other than me, target character other than me gains fleeting, anchored, or asleep. And they're going to go ahead and sleep that Dragon Shade. So it's a good one to target, but they only have 1 mana left, and we will see a slow play coming out here from the Trace player in the Sap Sniffer that will go ahead and augment that Dragon Shade. Still 4 mana left with to work with though, and they could definitely still go over the top of that Spindle Harvester on the hero side. It's a 70-30. Won't say which side. I mean, based off of your previous comments, Rune, I think we can all determine that it's definitely in favor of Trace, right? We will see another sleeping happen with Beauty Sleep, but it's not going to matter too much because we see the Trace just throw out one more card here to take the hero side, going a 1-for-1, taking the victory over the Tasia player. Runefolk calling the Trace victory way early on, and congrats to all the marbles there. Thank you, everyone that has joined us thus far. You are, in fact, watching the AWOL Season 3 Monday Weekly number 4. We are in the Swiss round of 4, I believe, if I am remembering correctly. It has been a little bit since the beginning of that game. But yeah, Swiss round 4. We'll take a look to see what we have left here. I'm just going to go to the first game that I see, table 6, so we can watch some more games here in the Swiss round 4. Thanks everyone that has joined us thus far. I am Blue Oak TV. May not be your favorite content creator, but Elio's cool too. So I'm my favorite content creator. That's all that matters. I'm just kidding. Either way, Sigismar mirror matchup. Haven't seen a lot of these in a while. Glad we were able to get some Sigismar on Sigismar action instead of that darn goal ring. Oh, yeah, it's Trace time to shine. Agreed. Um, or Basira. I like Basira. Basira is another good hero. I wouldn't mind a Basira win. Uh, but we are into a Sigismar matchup here, mirror matchup. We have a unique rune scribe on the board. Control token sabotage. When another token character joins your expedition, if you control a token, resupply. So got a good old fashioned resupply unique. We are dead even on the tumult. Some card draw happening for the top Sigismar due to the Ortis Attorney. And they do have a Monolith Ortis Bastion set up, so it's gonna be a hard time here for the bottom Sigismar, I'd have to imagine, unless they pull something out of their hat. But still possible, still dead even. We'll have to see how things turn out overall, but definitely leaning pretty heavily in favor of the top Sigismar with the setup that they have and the ability to just keep on resupplying here with that unique Monolith Rune Scribe. I'm gonna pull out some more water. Got a nice little squeezy thing. What's everyone doing today for snacks? I have some pretzels. Pretzels are good. Listen to the crunch. Okay, I'll mute real quick. All right, now that I'm done eating pretzels, we do see a Jack Frost. Go ahead and exhaust that monolith or inscribe. Bottom Sigismar just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. They will go ahead and gift of self, build up some of those resources that they can't get from the resupply. Only need one singular advance. But bottom Sigismar currently is in the lead. Only one card left in hand though, and everything else is visible. But those cards in reserve are pretty good for slow playing. So Ortis Crier will come out first. 8 mana left here for the top Sigismar. Be curious to see if they have anything in the hand from the draws that they got from that gift of self that can help them take the game. There are some times where you just brick. And you thought you were in a good position and turns out not to be. Caballo waiting things up. Gloops and the bottom Sigismar. Currently in the lead on the expeditions, at least. Still waiting on the top Sigismar to make a decision. Only can play cards from hand. And they'll go ahead and start off us off with a little slow play of the Ortis Crier. 4 mana left here for the bottom Sigismar. Not sure what they have in hand. Definitely possible to just play that 1 cost Ortis Trooper and then have a 3 cost to play. But the fact that they're waiting on this makes me think that they may not have that. So they may only be able to play what they have in hand. Who knows? Or one or the other, pretty much. But we'll have to wait to see how this turns out. At this moment, it seems like the bottom Sigismar may be happy with a 1 for 1 and go into a tiebreaker, but A lot of cards left to be played here to decide that. Taking their sweet, sweet time here with the bottom Sigismar. Able to keep things close despite having to deal with that monolith waiting for them in the top Sigismar. It's been interesting to see how the permanents have been integrated with a little bit of the changes coming from the Sigismar decks. Definitely still see a Grand Endeavor or two, but definitely feels like Monolith is probably a little bit more popular. And then honestly, I've seen a lot of deck lists that have no permanents at all. I believe Popeye, the recent winner of the Netherlands Worlds qualifier, decided to not use any permanents, and I've looked at a few other Sigismar lists that have done the same. So we will see a 2 cost play here in the Ortis Accountant from the top Sigismar. Only 1 card left here to play for the bottom Sigismar, assuming there's nothing to draw and lets them play otherwise. And it is still looking quite good for the top Sigismar because of it. Only 1 stat down in water on the companion side. And we will see a Jack Frost come out that cannot exhaust anything at this point. So now the question is, does the top Sigismar just have the statistics to block and or take both expeditions? 5 mana is definitely doable, it seems like, especially with the monolith available to them giving some boosts. Let's see if that is the case. License withdrawal comes out here. Bit of removal here. Discarding a boosted character, so that'll be enough for them to advance on the hero side. 2 costs left to potentially take the companion side, and they're gonna throw out that 1 remaining card that they had in hand in the Ortis Attorney, which will be enough to block, get the 1-0, and take the game. A lot closer than I expected. I thought for sure this top Sigismar was gonna take it quite handedly, but they did have everything they need to end up taking the game there. Congratulations to them in Caballo, and that'll wrap up that game here in the Swiss round 4. Thank you everyone that has joined us thus far. We're gonna go ahead and go back to see if there are any other matches for us to take a look at here for the Altered Weekly Online League Season 3, Monday Weekly number 4. Currently in the Swiss round 4. Looks like we're about wrapped up here. Maybe 1 game left? 2 games left. So we got no 3 games rather. We have multiple tables. Let's see if I remember if we've looked at any of them. I don't believe we have. I'm gonna go to table 24. Table 24. We have an Itzadi versus an Aphanis. What a game! What a game! Glad we were able to take a look at this one. Itzadi only one advance away from taking this game over the Aphanis. So not a situation we see a lot. We do see that unique enhanced prototype that probably going to be prevalent. I believe it's similar to the ones that we want to take a look at. But you may spend a counter from a card or you controller in your reserve. If you do, ready 2 mana orbs, and you may pay 1. If you do, you may put the top card in your deck in your mana zone. You will see a double advance for the Itzadi, so they will take the victory over the top of the Aphanis. Congratulations to Bajulin for taking that victory. We'll go ahead and head back real quick. I think we have some more games that we can take a look at before we wrap up Swiss round 4. After this Swiss round 4, we will likely be looking at some of the top tables for round 5 and 6 to see who's going to take the entire thing. Scrolling down here to see the remaining games that we have in the Swiss for round 4. Take a look at table 53, seems like one of the lone ones left. We get the matchup. JK, I almost put to a different screen. This is, I believe, the similar Novinka that was running Wayfarer before. Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe it is. We do see a unique paper herald. If you would roll a die, you may add 1 to its result. So really trying to make that dice rolling mechanic within the Novinka work. Don't know if that's the specific area you want to focus on if you are trying to run a Novinka deck, but who knows? Might work eventually. Maybe wrong there. We'll have to ask Runefolk. They are the decider They called the traced top tier gameplay, so maybe that's what we need to see from Navenka. Why am I alone today, Bane? Well, it's because everyone likes me so much that they just wanted me to have the solo spotlight, I believe is the scenario. That or a lot of other people are busy. I like to think it's because they like me a lot. But, we do see a 2 for 1 happening here for that Navenka, that they will get the victory over the top of the Tasia player. So good for them, especially with little dice roll setup. It looks like they even got an activation out of the Wayfarer. So nice little setup there. Because of hitting that like or or at peace. Yeah, who knew that just liking things on YouTube would help end world conflicts for the white bean? So I didn't, that's for sure. You know what? I also know what type of button that would help with something like that. Subscribe on Blue Oak TV. Anyway, let's get back to the games here. I think we're probably wrapped up with the current Swiss round. We'll take a look just to be sure. You all have been watching me, Blue Oak TV on YouTube. If you want to subscribe there, I'd appreciate it deeply. Casting the AWOL Season 3 Monday Weekly number 4. Although people have said I am alone, I'm actually with Crowbar. Crowbar will speak at some point. Whether it's about to happen or not, I can't tell you, but it could happen. You never know. Um, we are in the Swiss round 5 at this point. We are down to how many undefeated players? 8 undefeated players. So we are looking at the top 4 tables that we can take a look at as far as potential folks to see who can take the whole thing. I saw that we may get a Basira play from Frenico. So let's go ahead and take a look at Frenico at table 3, playing up against newbie WoW. And we'll have a good old fashioned Bravos off here for this game. For Nico, piloting the Basira as is the request, and we'll have Newbie Wow on the Kojo. We'll see how things have switched up a little bit here for the Bravos setup. I've been seeing some pretty cool cards being played, but got to have those Haven Seringers to start things off. Well, Keelan, I don't think he can make that comment without getting into some deep stuff, which is Iran, which is real. I don't know. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, Wiping, or do it. I don't know. We could use some spiciness in the chat. Either way, we do see a little bit of boosties happening here with the Fire Rabbit play, which will allow a good old fashioned 2 for 1 in the Bravo setup. Gotta love Bravos, man. I don't know how many times I've had a 2 for 2 with just playing other Bravos characters. The Aquilon guy being from Switz living in Switzerland, I'd say you're from, I guess, but living in Switzerland and starting shit. I thought you guys are supposed to be neutral. What's wrong with you? Um, there you go. There you go, Keelan. Cole's able to contribute. We do see a sabotage happening here, not in allowing Finico on the Basira to play that Haven Sariger and get some resources, which is probably a good play here, especially for the Kojo. Having that Buddha out, reducing the possibility of card resources for Nico on the Basira and setting up that Haven Saringer. We will see a Talarian Skater come out here. Just get a nice big chunky 4/4/4 here, trying to go 1 for 1. But it looks like we will see a Fire Rabbit of their own coming out here for the Kojo that will prevent any advance from the Sierra player. So we're all even. A lot of things being used in order to make it happen, but Kojo with the slight resource lead as having 2 cards in reserve, gonna give the Basira player and Fanico the opportunity to do some equal sabotaging on his own Haven Saringer by not playing it on the previous turn, but we'll see how it goes. Neutral shit stirrers is okay? Okay. Yeah, as long as you don't indicate a bias while you're stirring shit, I think you are correct with that. It's probably how things work. But I'm not from Switzerland or live in Switzerland, so I can't confirm or deny the rules on shit stirring and being neutral. But we'll go ahead and see a Tolarian skater come out from reserve from the Basira player, getting that 4/4/4 back and stacked up. Probably means we're not seeing anything too crazy coming from hand, even with 2 mana left. I have to imagine that we will see a setup here for the Seringer, and we will, in fact, see the newer permanent from the new set, the Mess, coming out here. Um, oh, uh, in fact, just gonna throw out the or to Spy. Gonna use that opportunity to stack up the Mess instead of throwing out the Seringer. Guess they don't really need to. Still on that single terrain setup on the hero side for the Seringer if they so choose, not trying to compete with that Tolarian skater that was already pretty big and that they probably couldn't contest at this point. So, 2 counters for the Mess because of that Ortis Spy, and I am a big fan of the rare Ortis Spy, so happy that we are able to get a little bit of support for it when it comes to the Mess. Was still using it even when, other folks were still liking their Tooth Fairies. Just enjoy that additional character, had some uniques that could benefit off of it, so have to see how that works even more now with my current Bravos deck. I haven't really messed with my Bravos deck recently, though. Been more messing around with Lyra. Feel like Lyra is definitely has a lot of fun things that you can do here in this new set. So I'm trying to mess with that a little bit. Either way, we will be on a Muna turn, and we will finally see that Haven Singer come out for the Kojo. Not a bad time to set it up. Still limited resources for both players, as is tradition for Bravos Heroes, especially if you're getting sabotaged. And we will just see a nice little Mighty Jin come out and another Mighty Jin come out. So double Mighty Jins. Question is there any boosting happening for the Basir player to potentially get over the top of that equal Mighty Jin being played? Definitely possible with 2 costs. And we will just go ahead and see a Duel of Grit. Another great, card that we've seen in this new set, big fan of it. Really cool, art as well, especially in the rare. If you haven't had a chance yet, go ahead and take a look at the story as far as the duel is concerned on the Altered website if you enjoy that lore shit. I mean, lore stuff. Either way, we do see a mess resupply come into play here in the form of a unique Axiom Salvager that if you control one or more landmarks, resupply when another character joins your expeditions. If I have one or more boosts, target character gains 1 boost. So I'll even up here in this Bravos matchup. Finally get that draw from the Haven Seringer. Kojo slightly ahead on resources, dead even on the Tumult. We do have the Mighty Jin available to the Basir player in the reserve. Not too many crazy boosty things happening at this point, but definitely still some opportunities here as both heroes are 3 advances away from taking the game for either of them. Again, I wouldn't be upset to see either of them do well here. Big fan of Bravos as a whole. All 3 heroes decks I've made for. Um, Yeah, and that's how I really determine which factions I like is based off the heroes and if I wanna make decks for them, which is why Muna sucks, because I only ever wanna make an Argent deck. Tasia's boring, Rin's boring. I just don't like either of them. Plus it's I'm not that's not true, I do like green as a color, but more of like a lime green. Either way. Daedalus comes out with Scout Effect. Again, really cool art and great effect, especially for Bravos too. So only gets a 1 roll though, so we'll just get 1 boost on that Salvager. Should be interesting to see if we see that Salvager come out here. See some of those effects get activated as we just see the lone Mighty Jin on the board here at the moment for the Basir player. 3 cards in hand though, so plenty of options left to them. And we will see the Scotty coming out here. A card that I was trying earlier on in set 2, but kind of got away from it. But should be fun to see how people utilize it here. Everyone loves exhaust. I'm more of a sabotage man myself, but I can see the benefit of exhaust. I've used it in my day. Speaking of sabotage, we do get to see a resupply of a Haven Bouncer coming from the reserve, but instead we will see the data list come out first. Seems like the Kojo is fine, potentially just going one for one if they can make it work, and the data list is a good spot to put there as far as the terrains available in the mountain and the water. On the hero companion, and looks like Ferniko is fine doing that, setting up with the Haven Seringer on the companion side, hopefully trying to get that available to them on the following day. Try not to get sabotaged again like they did early on in day 2. Probably feels less likely to happen now that they know that the spy was played and they see a Haven Bouncer in reserve, but it is Bravo, so you never know when a sabotage could pop up on uniques or anything else. We will get the decision here on the Mighty Jin whether to draw or mana up, and it looks like we will get the draw, doesn't need to mana up, and see what else they can get off of that card draw. So we will be looking at a Buddha turn. At this point, we could definitely be looking at our final day. Both players could potentially be getting a 2 advanced or even 2-1 and take this game. So big turn overall for both players. Only a slight one card advantage at the moment for the Kojo as far as what's in hand, depending on if the Basira player is deciding to mana here. Taking some time to figure out what they would want to mana if they so choose. They will have to deal with that Buddha this turn. So, got to make it a little bit more difficult for them to take that double advance that I was mentioning before, but could definitely happen as I get some water. I like the waters. I haven't always got them because they usually cost more, but I like the little waters with the little. Are they nipple top or are they like a squirt top? Either way, probably not the best brew choice. Nico's still making a decision here on the mana. For everyone that is still around at the moment, you are watching the Swiss round 5. We are down to 8 undefeated players. So these are 2 of them, both of them running Bravos, and sure enough, we do see that other sabotage come out. This time hitting the Scotty though. They're fine with having that Serengerd come out because the Basira isn't in a spot where Forest super helps them, even if it happens at the point of getting a card draw. The Kojo may just be looking to end the game right now. Yeah. I try my best to specifically pick vocabulary that entices everybody, Rune folk, so I appreciate that you appreciate that. We do see the unique Axiom Salvager come out here. If you control one or more landmarks, resupply. When another character joins your expedition, if I have one or more boosts, target character gains 1 boost, and it does in fact have a boost at this point. So, we'll be pretty big for the Kojo. Seems like they are going to try to end it right now. We do see an intimidation come out though, so we'll not get the the use of that boost effect from the Kojo being able to play it from hand. So now does Ferniko on the Basira have something to prevent a double advance from the Kojo? Definitely not a lot of stats on the board, so still a possibility. The question is, what does the Kojo follow up with here? Are they just going to throw out a simple Seringer, maybe a bouncer, or something from hand? All of them are possibilities. We're more than likely gonna see a one for one, unless there's something I'm not seeing. But still 4 mana left for Nico, so they definitely could use both cards in hand at like 2 costs or a 3 and a 1 cost. But not quite sure at the moment. And we will see just a Tomo Gozen come out here. Plenty of stats, especially to block the Basira. And we will see a 1 cost come out here. Go ahead and fleeting the Fire Rabbit. Gonna boost up the Haven Seringer and boost with the Basira ability onto the Fire Rabbit itself. 3 mana left, still plenty to be able to overtake on that companion side if they so choose. And we will see a unique Ouroboros Trickster rolls a 3, and if you control 2 or more boosted characters, roll a die. On 4 plus, gain 2 boosts. On 1 3, I gain 1 boost. At dusk, if I have 1 or more boosts, draw a card. So, still a good card overall. Does its job. Still pretty low on resources for Nico, with what they have. They will get the draw. Probably the best situation that they can be in, especially not having to deal with a Buddha this following turn. But Kojo is definitely stacked up here with 5 mess counters and 5 cards in hand, maybe 4 after a mana. And we'll see how this final day gets set up here. Could go either way. Definitely looks like the resource advantage is towards the Kojo player, but a lot that can be done here from Fernico on the Basira and the top player here. Going to go ahead and start off with a mess play, resupply into a Pathfinder, and then a unique Chiron when another character joins your expedition. If you control 1 or more landmarks, target character gains 2 boosts. So just stacking up those boosts. So if Renico has a removal for that, now would be a good time. Can't hit it with a Duel of Grit, unfortunately, and has already used an Intimidation. So maybe running low on removal. It's going to be pretty hard to catch up stats wise if that's the case. But we will see a Talarian Skater come out. It's going to give itself a boost, which means we are not going to see a Scout setup. We do see that unique Axiom Salvager that got intimidated earlier coming out, and it will get the boosts that we're talking about from the Chiron. So it'll also be able to give boosts as more characters are being played. So quite a combo that we're getting see being played by newbie WoW on the Kojo. It's going to be quite difficult for Nico to take this one at this point, especially with both of those uniques. I'd have to imagine. We'll see what they have left in hand, but a lot available still to the Kojo player. Still can play 2 cards from reserve, despite anything that they can see from hand as well. So you may be looking at a Bravos victory if you didn't already know by the beginning of this game. But we'll wait to see what we can come up with here. Fanico weighing all their options as both players have represented their faction quite well up until this point. Both of them are one of 8 undefeated players left here in the Swiss Round 5 of the AWOL Season 3, Weekly number 4. After we wrap up this game, we'll see what else we have available to us and watch some other games, and then we'll get into the final round of round 6 and pick one of the 2 undefeated setups. If some of you folks at home wanna put some stuff in to determine which you think that we should take a look at, let me know. But we will see that Duel of Grit that I mentioned earlier come out with the Talarian Skater. They can hit either of those uniques. The question is, which will he go for? This is probably the decision that he was trying to weigh off a little bit. Making a decision is gonna go for that Chiron that provides 2 boosts, allowing the mess to get another boost. I'm gonna go ahead and just throw out that Orta Spy. We'll have multiple characters join at this point because it does not say non-token. So another character joins your expedition, we'll have something gain a boost. So he's just gonna go ahead and stack up the boosts. Little bit on the companion side, give it to the spy. Question is, we'll see where the second boost, and it will go to the recruit. And we will see a unique trailblazer from Benico. I gain 1 boost per fleeting character you control. If you control 2 or more boosted characters, draw a card, otherwise resupply. So enough stats to stop for now. Still 2 left for the Kojo though, and with a Bravos Tracer, that should be enough for them to take that companion side and give them the victory over the Basira player. GG's to them both. Quite a close game. Just too many things for the Basir player and Fanico to deal with both of those uniques coming out of the Kojo player. So a lot of counters coming here to the mess, but that'll wrap up this game. We'll go ahead and head back and see what else we can take a look at. Once again, I want to thank everyone that has joined us thus far. You are watching the Swiss Round 5 of the Altered Weekly Online League, Season 3, Monday Weekly, number 4. We'll see how many games. I think we still have one of the undefeated setups still going, so we'll just jump into that real quick before it ends. Table 4. This is Originality versus, you know, it is one of the goal ring players, but not looking in the hottest of spots at the moment. Might have been able to see a goal ring in the finals, but maybe not. We'll see how this one goes. Still not down yet. We do have the Finn currently in the lead. A little bit of slow play by the goal ring player in the meantime. Both players do have a lot of mana left, though. So we'll see how this turns out. Finn is going to go and throw out that Tanuki. Go ahead and get rid of the Ordis Cadets. Hanging on to that Cloth Cocoon as well. Conjuring Seal comes up here for, you know, and we'll go and wait things out. Inkcaster coming here, so it's likely only one card left to play here for the Finn. Definitely still could play two if there's a one cost in hand, but more than likely not. But we will go ahead and see a Monolithic God come out here for the Gold Ring player. We will see a unique Lyra Scald. At dusk, you may discard a card from your reserve. If you do draw a card, up to one target character gains fleeting. So now with 5 mana left, does the gold ring have enough to stop both sides? We will see a Atlas come out here that produces a token, and I assume it gives tokens gigantic, which is enough to help them on the one side, but not quite enough to stop things on the hero side. It looks like didn't quite have enough what they need to get things going here, so we will see a victory for the Finn player. Too bad for the gold ring player. Thought we might be able to see them in the final tables, but either way, Finn, quite a good hero to take a look at and see what we can watch here on the final table as that game ends with Originality taking the victory. And we will see what other games we have left. That is the last bit of undefeated players for this AWOL Season 3 Monday Weekly number 4. Should have some other games we can take a look at in the meantime. If anyone has suggestions, again, feel free to throw them out there. Oh, never mind. Table one's still up, so we can watch a little bit of table one. What am I talking about? Table one, Caballo versus Ramomo. Afanis versus Sigismar. You thought you got away from this matchup, huh? Never. It's always going to be around. Dead even, though. And we'll see which of these two storied heroes can take the game. We do have a unique rune scribe available. I think we've taken a look at that one before. We also have a unique spindle harvester that has the good old fashioned at dusk effects of returning a card. You haven't seen any gold ring thus far. It's all we've been watching. You got to get on that, man. Um, we will see things dead even on the tumult at the moment. The question is, can the Afanis player catch up with how things are set up on the tumult with currently the Sigismar up on both sides, hero and companion. They do have the play though with only 3 mana left. 2 cards in hand for both players. Just watch back the first round and you'll see we had 2 gold ring players beat 2 Sigismar players. We're gonna wait things out here. Table 38 might be interesting. Probably over for this. Yeah. See how it goes. This is a pretty close game, so we'll wait this one out. Ordis Crier comes out. And we will see an off you go pop up here. Still 1 mana left here for the Afonis as the Sigismar decides to pass. Maybe see a beauty sleep, and we do in fact see a beauty sleep, which should be enough to knock things out here for the Afonis and take the 2-0 victory to wrap this one up. Gotta love the Afonis and still being able to utilize 1 mana to win a game, right? By gotta love it, I mean, you don't have to love it at all. Let Afonis perish. Either way, Afonis takes the victory here against Sigismar. Always sad to see a Sigismar go down, but what can you do? Especially if it's not against a goal ring. But Ramomo taking that victory here in the Swiss round 5. We'll go ahead and head back to see what other games we have left. Cole mentioned table 38, if that one still exists. We are watching the Altered Season 3 Monday Weekly number 4, Swiss round 5. See if table 38 that Cole mentioned is available. It is. Let's take a look. Nearing the end of the game, but we can watch it if it's around. Atsadi versus Kojo. We will see a Swift Jin pop up, and but it looks like we're already getting some GGs. Iran doesn't have anything else to go off of here for that duel of grit, and we will see an Atsadi victory beating Iran on the Kojo. So at least we got to watch Atsadi win something, even though it was like half a turn. Back to Swiss round number 5. See if there's any other games that we want to take a look at before we swap over to round 6. Looks like most games are done. There are a few left available. Um, Scroll, 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 scroll. Let's take a look at. I believe we saw Deso on the goal ring before, right? So might be able to get a goal ring here for you potentially. Yep, here's some Go Run gameplay for all the requests out there. A little bit far behind here against the Asadi. Some 2 lower tier heroes that you don't often get to see. So we'll see. I mean, at this point, it's a win either way, right? Asadi wins or Gold wins. And we'll get to see how that one works out. But we'll get to see a big Sakurabru play on the Eat Me Energy bar for the uniques. Doesn't look like it's matters as far as backwards because it's from hand only, but it has a reserve effect of you may put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do, target character gains 1 boost. And when another character joins your expeditions, if you control 1 or more landmarks, draw a card, which will be coming into effect here. And they're going to go ahead and just throw out that Theseus from reserve, stack up on one side, only need 1 advance to take the game. Going to make it difficult for the goal rank to come back here, even with 6 mana left. Question is, do they have something that they think can remove all those stats on the board? I'm betting on not, but, we'll see. Get a card return for the Sakurabu to potentially play later. We'll get a unique Ortis Gatekeeper that creates an Ortis Recruit and other expedition, and it's a token generator, to the hero expedition, which could be beneficial here, depending on what they have. They're gonna go ahead and license withdrawal, so that will be a big card as far as discarding a boosted character, and it will allow the goal rank to stay in this game, but they also know that that Sakurabu is waiting in the wings in the hand with the Eat Me energy bar still available. I wonder how often these expeditions have gone backwards since we've started this game, based off that Sakurabu or other Sakurabus. Who knows? I'm guessing more than likely we'll be seeing one here soon. 16 mana for the Atsadi player, up to 10 counters. No cost reduction on the counters quite yet. So we'll see how this game can go. It may be a long one. We may go to time limit, to be honest, with all this back and forth with all the stats on the goal ring and all the sending stuff back for the Atsadi. Feel like the Atsadi though is just at the point of being able to overtake the game. Has so many cards in hand, can just make life difficult for the gold ring player, and they're just going to mana reap and not even give the option of any stats on the board or the gold ring if possible. Surprised they just didn't want to wait and use that, but I guess they don't want to see any token generation happening on the Ortis Gatekeeper, which is not a bad idea. Um, Field reinforcements will get both effects here as they are both tied or behind on both expeditions. So at least beneficial for the gold ring in that point. 4 cards in hand to mess with, but only 7 mana. Now the question is, does the Atsadi just pull the trigger on that Sakurabu we saw earlier, or we're going to see something else? Instead, we will see a Veilmon come out here. If you have 10 or more mana orbs, I am gigantic, so it will in fact be gigantic at this point. More field reinforcements coming out. It seems like Goldring is digging for anything and everything that they possibly can have to keep up in this game. 10 mana left here for the Itzadi player. Can they wrap things up? They do throw out another Veilmon in this scenario. Both of them gigantic at this point. 10, 10, 10 in stats across the board. These slow games make me appreciate Pandy ending his Blitz tournaments, right? It makes me appreciate the fact that we're not watching Rune Folk, right? More than anything. Speaking of AQZ, you got Blitz tournaments, and then we have Rune Folk that's known for playing slow. How did these guys have both ends of the spectrum? Crazy, right? Either way, we do have a Efi coming out here, Fire Avatar, um, giving some boosts to the Veilmon, making things a little bit bigger on the hero side. Goring's doing their darndest to throw more stats out there, but it does not look like they'll have quite enough to do so, especially trying to block both sides. That is true. Rune is really good about he knows how to play his slow decks very quickly, and very often when he's playing his stall decks, the opponent runs out of time before he does. So he knows how to work the system. It's just that big brain just calculates super fast. We do see a scout come out here with the Abbey. Will allow that any number of augmenting that we had seen previously to boost up the tokens on the board. Still, without them being gigantic, it's going to be a little too late, especially with no statistics available. Still a good showing from the gold ring player, but happy to see Anatsadi take this victory and win this game. So I believe this will probably be pretty close to the last game here in Swiss Round 5. We will be getting into Swiss Round 6 for the AWOL Season 3 weekly number 4 on Monday. Should have 2 undefeated tables. If you guys have a preference on which undefeated table to take a look at, let me know. If not, I'm going to pick the one that I've seen the least. I'll give you the time it takes for the delay to catch up to decide. As we scroll on over, are we in round 6 yet? We are not in round 6 yet. So gives you guys plenty of time to make the decision on what you want to see for the final table. Choose wisely. We are down to one last game. See if we can jump in before it ends. We, in fact, cannot. So we are in Swiss round 6. I will do a quick chat check to see what we might take a look at. No decisions. No decisions. All right, guys, you're gonna make me pick. I'll do it. Don't think I won't. Okay, okay. So we have originality versus newbie wow or Ramomo versus Acraft. I believe I've looked at the first table. I don't have I looked at Acraft yet? I don't think I have. Acraft was in chat earlier, so we'll watch Acraft versus Ramomo table 2. As we wait for that, I want to thank everyone that has watched us thus far. Been a great Monday setup, even though I've been by myself. As far as people are concerned, obviously I have the Chimera Crowbar joining me. Has still not spoke yet, so you can continue to watch and we can hear uh, Crowbar speak at some point. Can't promise when that's going to be, but it could be. You never know. You may have to end up continue watching the stream after it closes down to see if it pops up, but who knows? Either way, we're back in it, and we will watch a Kojo versus Afanis matchup here to see who can take the whole shindig. All right. Well, yeah, there's two undefeated tables is the problem, Pain. So I just had to pick one of them. Either way, we do have a good start here from the Kojo, getting 2-0 on a Buddha turn, as well as getting a Haven Bravo Sebastian out. So cannot complain with there. But I'm sure the Faunus isn't entirely complaining either, being able to get the setup of the Conjuring Seal, getting to draw two cards immediately, giving up the 2-0, but setting himself up for later, right? So we'll see how that works out here as far as setup versus quick advancing. Sure, the Kojo may want to move a little bit as fast as possible here to get more advances. So it really doesn't matter if the Afanis can catch up or not, but we'll see how that goes. As the Afanis does a little bit of a slow play with the Studious Disciple. I've seen Studious Disciples fall out of favor a little bit, but this Afanis player in Ramomo still running it. Solid card for just one cost, and it's a common, so why not? We do get the Tiny Gin play come out here, and you know what? Bonus just going for more setup. Another Conjuring Seal play. And we will see a Chiron come out here, which will be enough for another 2-0 for the Kojo player. Going into a Buddha turn as well. So the question is the Afanis player just relying that much on setup, or have they not been hitting the cards that they need to off of all this card draw? Hopefully, it's more on the setup side. The Buddha is definitely on the lower side of things as far as cards in hand versus cards in reserve compared to the Afanis. They did decide not to mono here, instead using that Tiny Jin as kind of like a pseudo draw. We will see the Talarian Skater come out from the reserve, getting a little boost, boosting up the Buddha, as well as getting a boost from the Haven. So we're either looking at a really quick game here where the Kojo can take it as fast as possible, or we see the Afanis claw their way back like we are used to them doing after getting multitudes of resources. We do have a good start here for the Afanis in the Katagir and Mage Dancer, potentially preventing another 2-0 from the Kojo. They do only have 2 mana left here to play with. More than likely, we could be seeing a Chiron coming out, just stacking on one side and forcing the Afanis to use a little bit to win the companion side. But they could also just contest and see if they can get the 2-0. Would be a little bit of a risky move, but could edge things out and really help them take the game really quickly. Because once you're adjacent, it's really hard to stop your opponent from winning at least one advance. But it looks like they are going to opt to stack up on that hero side and guarantee it, giving one stat to the Buddha and making the Afanis earn it a little bit on that companion side potentially. We will see that side of hand go ahead and return that Conjuring Seal, and we will go ahead and see a Joyride come out here in the reserve. Just need one more spell being played by the Afanis to help them take that companion side. They will cost reduce the Conjuring Seal to draw some more, get some more setup, get two boosts, be able to advance, give up the one for one, but at least they don't give up a 2 for 0 and they get an advance themselves. And all on a Buddha turn. So, still a pretty good spot for the Kojo, despite not having any cards in reserve. They are quite far ahead on the Tumult, but the more this game goes on, the better chance that the Afanis has to be able to come back here. They have been drawing a whole hell of a lot with those Conjuring Seals and getting themselves through their almost entirety of their half of their deck to get there. So, despite it being them being behind at this point, I would still not count the Afanis out because of just the amount of resources and setup and the amount of their deck that they have seen realistically. But we will see how that turns out. I think it would be a good uh, idea here if the Kojo can get one advance. They'd still be sitting pretty despite the hand of the Afanis. But they may just need to use this day as a little bit of a setup day and try to get a double advance on the following day with a Buddha turn, but we'll see. We do get a unique Lady of the Lake. You may put a card from your hand in reserve if you do draw a card. And we will see a dual grit in the common variety go into the reserve with it immediately getting hit by a Tooth Fairy. The Faunus does not want to see any of that removal come into play for them, as that could be a backbreaker in the finality of this game, especially if the Kojo is able to go adjacent. Interesting that the Dakota decided to contest with the Mage Dancer on the companion side with their unique instead of just trying to go to the opposite side, but maybe seeing the potential of what could potentially happen or just setting up the Duel of Grit was their plan. But we'll see how it turns out. 4 mana left with the Kojo, and they are going to play a second unique in the Haven Warrior. You may put a card from your hand in reserve if you do resupply. So a good setup for that Haven Seringer, especially on the hero side with just a forest terrain. And Honest is responding with a magical training, splitting those boosts. Immediate Haven Seringer play. So it looks like that Kojo is just trying to get that singular advance that I mentioned before, but they do have to contest with the good old fashioned Afanis throwing a bunch of boosts on things, especially with the Joyride. Still has 1 mana left to play. They may be giving it up here for the single advance, but nope, they have that magical training in hand as they have gone through a lot of their deck, and that will be enough to block that singular advance from the Kojo and get a double advance themselves. So here we go. Did Afanis gather enough resources to potentially come back after going under such a large deficit? Or can Kojo pull things out here, coming up on a Buddha turn and maybe get a double advance? Going to be difficult for either hero at this point, but makes for a hell of a game. As we get Acraft and Ramomo uh, moving forward here into the next day, we'll see what things can come from it. 3 cards in hand for the Kojo player, 2 uniques in the reserve. Lady of the Lake won't be doing anything from reserve, but it does still have the standard Lady of the Lake um, support effect, which may be useful for the Haven Warrior, depending on if that's what they want to go with. Be curious to see if it is. It's definitely a possibility to want to put more cards in your reserve, especially with the Haven available to them. The Faunus player is taking their time here deciding on mana. They do have a lot of cards in hand, but it could be a lot that they want to use. And at this point, every card and every play that you're making on the Faunus has to matter because you know that if you give up even a singular advance to the Kojo, it could be in a spot where it messes you up because all it takes is one removal and you're giving up another advance and you lose the game. So, rightfully taking their time here is the Faunus player. They did just get a double advance and a block on the Kojo. Now only 4 advances away from taking the game, 2 advances away for the Kojo player coming up on a Buddha turn. I feel like if you're the Kojo at this point, if you're not getting at least a single advance on this day, it's probably not ideal. Obviously, the best situation is you can get that double advance and take the game. taking advantage of the Buddha turn. But with the amount of resources that you see that the Afanis has, you're probably thinking that if I can get one, I'll be happy, and playing around that concept. But we will see that Haven Warrior come out in the unique, put a card in your reserve to resupply. And those are some pretty good cards to put in reserve and or resupply for. Both of them having solid stats. The Pathfinder not helping too much on the hero side, but it can definitely help on the companion side. And the Tracer is just good in general. As we see one of those unique Spindle Harvesters coming out when I leave the expedition. If I have one or more boosts, you may return a spell from your reserve to your hand. So, not the ones that we had seen a lot of before, but still quite a good one. We will see that Pathfinder that I mentioned go on to the companion side. Good spot with all the water. 6 mana left here to play with for the Aphanis, so they'll have to have a lot of interaction with the Kojo, as well as stopping the Kojo on both sides, or at least try not to give up the double advance. Still a lot of cards that they could do that could do that, but they are going to just straight away use that magical training from reserve. So only 4 mana at this point. And a mana eruption comes out here as the final play for the Kojo, not letting the spindle harvesters even have an opportunity to activate that effect. Now it's just going to be free play for the Faunus, and the question is, do they have enough to stop and set themselves up? At dusk, you may return a spell from your reserve to your hand, so that will be helpful. And it will be that off you go. Go ahead and get rid of that Haven Warrior. Help them at least keep it as a one from one, but it does put the Kojo in a good spot to potentially take this game despite giving up that Haven Warrior and having that off you go that they know is in the hand of the Aphanis. But with the limited amount of resources that we see from the Kojo, it really is either player's game. I could almost see someone giving the advantage to the Aphanis, especially with the amount of resources they have, the low cost play in that unique Muna Caregiver coming from the reserve, and the fact that the Kojo player did burn one of their mana here with that mana eruption just to get rid of that spindle harvester. At the time, seemed like a really good play, but with the amount and characters of setup that Iphanis has, it could not have mattered potentially for the end of this game. So we'll see if Acraft can pull this out and just get one more singular advance. They can give up a double advance to the Iphanis here for this day and maybe just use this turn as a resource play. But they are going to go ahead and start off with a little bit of sabotage going on here with the out of faction Tooth Fairy and maybe set themselves up for a victory in the following turn with a Buddha turn. I am not seeing my mouse though. We do see that unique Lady of the Lake come out just for the one cost play. It's weird. Don't see my mouse. Sorry about that. We do have a category and Mage Dancer coming out for the Aphanis. There it is. Sweet. Finally got my mouse working. Tolarian Skater goes to the reserve through a scout play, getting some more boosts, causing the Aphanis to use as much as possible. So throwing everything at him that he has is the Kojo player and Acraft. Now the question will be, is it enough? Probably not for this day, but at least he's making the Aphanis work for it a little bit. And we'll have to see if it will be enough for the setup on the following day. Still likely at this point giving Aphanis the advantage depending on what the Kojo can draw. Want to thank everyone that has joined us thus far, though. We are watching the sixth and final round of the AWOL Season 3, Monday Weekly number 4. These are two of the four undefeated players. If after this game we have time, we'll take a look at the other undefeated table. If not, we'll take a look at some other games and close things out afterwards. But either way, this has turned out to be quite a good game. Afanis early on gave up two double advances and was down quite a bit while setting up card advantage with Conjuring Seals. and at this point is working their way back up and potentially could take this game depending on how things map out. Acraft could definitely still play the Tellurian Skater. The question is are they thinking that they want to save it for the following day, or are they playing out in their head if they can still win the game uh, without it? But it looks like they are going to play it. We do know an Off You Go is in hand for the Afanis at this point, so they can boost up to at least block on the companion side. But instead, we are going to Joyride, and it will be enough to advance on the hero side and get enough boosts on the companion side to block. And there's still one left for the Aphonis, who is just going to throw out a nice little Studious Disciple and get that 2-0. So unfortunate there for a craft on the Kojo. It does look like Aphonis here is in the driver's seat, using all of their resources for the Kojo to potentially try to take that game. We are dead even at this point, but only 3 cards to work with here for the Kojo player. They are going to automatically keep them. It will be on a Buddha turn, so we're more than likely, I assume, they're going to try to hope to just go 1 for 1 here, unless there's something in hand that they are working with that is special. We have seen 2 of the 3 uniques. We do see a Haven Bouncer come out, immediately sabotage that Mage Dancer. Aphonis finally worked down to 4 cards in hand after stacking up a bunch of them earlier on. Wonder if they have anything that could be super useful for them at this point. 4 mana left here for the Kojo player, who's going to throw out the Pathfinder in a good spot on the Companion Expedition. Field Reinforcements, though, comes out for the Faunus, which works out quite well with both of these players being tied up, getting the effect of both, as well as boosting up that recruit. 6 mana left to play with as well. Looking pretty good for them. Potentially just slow playing for a removal play to take both of these expeditions. They're just going to go ahead and straight up use the Off You Go on the Pathfinder. No mana left for a craft on the Kojo. So realistically, at this point, they can just run one more of any character, or they could just play the Off You Go again, and that'll wrap things up here. And we do see the pass from the Kojo player in Acraft, and despite going down early, we do see that wonderful Aphanis gameplay of just bringing themselves back after having 20 plus cards in their hand and setting themselves up for the future game. And they wrap it up with a Moth to a Flame and a Joyride. And they will take this final table game. Congratulations to Ramomo taking Aphanis to a top spot. We'll see what the other top table maps out to be if we get a chance to take a look at it. As I will head back real quick to see if we can watch it. You are watching round 6 of the Altered Weekly Online League Season 3, Monday Weekly number 4 at this point. As I load up to see if I can catch that final table, having some loading issues. Come on, help me out here. We are into the final round here of this game. My computer is deciding now to take a while to load the page, so appreciate everyone that has been watching. It's been a fun little cast with me and my co-caster Crowbar as we decide to watch this final game here. Swiss round 6. Do we still have the final game up? Looks like they may be in a tiebreaker if I can catch it. Loading, loading. Sorry, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it for you folks. BGA, it's either my internet or BGA being a little bit iffy, but since my frames aren't dropping, I'm assuming it's a BGA thing. Or it could just be me. Who knows? Yeah, I'm really happy to have Crowbar here to carry me. Realistically, it's the face that does all the work when it comes to these types of events. And I'm guessing since you can still see the cast that it's not my internet, but it's maybe a BGA thing happening here that's preventing me from loading the stuff. I don't know. If it is not, we may have another game for y'all to watch. If not, glad we were able to get at least through that sixth game. All right, I am back on the BGA page. I don't know if I can load anything. Either way, I am Blue Oak TV. Been appreciating everyone to watch. Oh, maybe go to the game. Oh, never mind. It ended. But you can see Newbie Wow wins. We do have originality here, and he is running the contortionist. Happy to see a contortionist in play. Was a really close game, but we do see one of the Bravos players make it to be one of the undefeated winners of this AWOL event. So happy to see that. So we'll head on back, see if there's any other games we want to catch before we wrap things up. If there is anything in particular that someone wants to watch, feel free to let me know and we can take a look at it. Everything's taking a little bit of time to reload, but if we're not going to watch it, then I will thank everyone for joining me and Crowbar for this cast. Glad my voice was able to be sustained this entire time, to be honest. Talking a lot, although I enjoy doing, sometimes can mess up your voice, believe it or not. So we'll see how that goes. I am having delays in pulling up another game for PGA, or it could be me. I don't think it's me, but it could be PGA. Either way, want to thank everyone that has joined us thus far and has enjoyed this AWOL season 3 weekly Monday weekly number 4 on this cast. Got to watch a lot of cool games. Got to see some early on goal ring victories from the Swiss round 1, and we got to see a Kojo and a Afanis take the top spots for this event. I'm not seeing any possibilities for this to work, so I'll give it another minute, and if not, I'll go ahead and just wrap things up on my end. Yeah, it is BGA. Okay. Um, yeah, everything's showing 100%. So I'm assuming it's all pretty much done. I may be able to look at other games, but everything's loading super slow. So congratulations to all the participants who made it thus far. Let's see if I can look at to see who's done the thing. We did have, let me pull up the gameplay screen. We did have Ramomo take it with the Afanis victory after going down early. We I did I believe I saw Originality take the victory against the game in with Newbie Wow. And then we have some other semi-undefeated players here between, you know, Hissy, and we already talked about Acraft and Bajulian. That will be in the top 8-ish. We'll also have some other players in the top 16, some other big names that we have seen quite a bit as well as far as Caballo, Madri, Frenico, Choking on Vape. I have not seen Choking on Vape before. That's a new one for me. So solid name. Um, Hat Easy Lopez, Kinji, and Pandy Andy up here as well. Not sure if they ended up making the top 16 or not, but we'll see how this out turns out. We'll try one more time to see if I can pull up a game. It does not look like that will be the case. All right. That looks like that'll be it. Once again, want to thank everyone that has joined the cast thus far. This has been Blue Oak TV. If you haven't been paying attention, my stuff has been down here on occasion. Feel free to subscribe to me. It makes me feel better. And if you are enjoying these online events, be sure to check out the Altered site as they have published when the BGA qualifiers for the World Championship event will be happening, and you can be one of the people that goes to France too for free. You just get invited. It's crazy. But yeah, again, this has been Blue coming to you live from the Altered Weekly Online League, joined by Crowbar. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.